time, 18 minutes. Well, I'm excited. Let's see what I hope they have some good news, man. I hope they have a lot of stuff, or at least a decent amount of stuff for mid-season. You guys let me know how the sound is. I don't want it to be too loud. Hey, what's up, Kettle? How you doing, brother? Man, we are there. Is the sound good for you, my man? I've never streamed a live stream before, so good, that's good. Awesome. That's all I care about, as long as it sounds good. Just drinking some coffee. Excited to hear what they have to say. I'm almost at level 60 on my hardcore right now, so. The music, yeah. I have it down. I don't know exactly if I need to adjust the volume in my OBS. Hey, what's up, Sock? How you doing, brother? Is it feeling better? You like the Necro? I know you said you wanted to do a wizard, but I seen that you were playing a Necro, so. At 32. My poor. He's like, I'm gonna try out this Sork. Probably gonna be better than the Rogue. Died before your Rogue did. Nice. Well, we'll get to hear at least a little bit about what they're going to do with the balance, man. I hope. I don't suspect that they're going to do any crazy like significant mid-season nerfs. I don't suspect they're going to throw people, because I would imagine like if they did any crazy nerfs mid-season, it would just throw your builds all off. Like, I would suspect that they'll probably save it for like. Maybe they'll do some small tweaking, but I wouldn't suspect they'll do any significant nerfing to the classes. It would just be weird. You'd basically have to rebuild your entire, your whole setup. And they're going to be introducing the vampiric powers. I'm kind of excited to see what how they're going to implement those. Yeah, I think so. I'd be fine with that. Yeah, the shape-shifting druid boss at the end, bro. I know, man. There's one stronghold that has it has a little demon on the pyre where you have to unlock every section. And I lost like a level 60 in season 2, like a level 67 or 68 character, hardcore character. I thought for certain I could blow through the last boss's health before they used their first attack, and that didn't happen. And homie just one-shot me. Yeah, certain strongholds, man, will surprise you because usually most people don't do their strongholds until they're super powerful. So they blow through all the strongholds like it's nothing. And then when you're doing hardcore, you can use those strongholds sometimes to get early gear for your next tier, and it's a lot safer because, you know, the enemies are only 2 levels above you. So sometimes you forget like how powerful some of the bosses are before you're overgeared. Yeah, I think so, Sakto. I would imagine like if they do nerf some things, it'll be small, but it should just be bug fixes. Even though, like I always say, like Barbarian's crazy overpowered. It doesn't matter because people have already got their builds set up, and it would kind of be crazy if they nerfed the Barb like significantly mid-season. Maybe small nerfs and bug fixes. As long as they get the snapshotting thing under control, that's all I care about at the end of the day. Like, we're all separated on leaderboards anyway, so it doesn't matter. Like, Barb's going to compete against Barbs, Druids against Druids. It doesn't matter to me. So I don't necessarily think they need to do any nerfs right now. Hey, what's up, Joe? Let's go. 12 minutes. You guys let me know if it gets too loud. I'll try to fix it. I've never streamed a live stream before on YouTube. Oh, I hard disagree with you on that one, Sock. I hard disagree with you on that one. I would agree if the game wasn't so easy at the moment, but if they buff if they buff the class, if they put every class on par with Barbarian, like the game is going to be ridiculously easy. That would be, in my opinion, a terrible idea. Yeah, finish the season, then balance. You don't have to buff anything like crazy. Like, don't buff stuff. Leave it as it is. Maybe buff companions, buff minions, stuff like that. Stuff that's clearly, like, super weak compared to the rest of the different setups you can use for each class. But don't go too crazy with the buffs, man. I don't want to be that powerful. Yeah, that's true. That's true. We got a month and a half left, so as long as, like I said, as long as they fix the glaring problems for leaderboards, like the snapshots, I'm perfectly fine if everything else is. Because, I mean, what does it matter? Like, at this point, you know, we're already pretty settled into the season. Everybody has their builds set up the way they like them. You know, any significant buffs aren't really going to affect, like, hardcore players. It's going to affect those players who don't have a lot of time on their hands to rebuild an entire character or to get more gear, stuff like that. I just don't think that would be a good idea. Yeah, I don't think it'll happen either. I don't think it'll happen. I definitely agree. And it shouldn't, honestly. But definitely patch Season 4, I think they should look at rebalancing the game. I don't think it's intended. I don't think it's intended, bro. I think it just is something they haven't maybe figured out how to fix, because it's clearly not intended. I think they just need to make it where you can't swap gear while you're in the dungeon. I think that's the most common way that people have thought about fixing it. I mean, it just doesn't need to exist, especially in a game right now where we're all pretty powerful. It just makes builds go crazy. I mean, it's for the rest of the game, it doesn't matter to me, right? Like, it's not like a hyper competitive game, and most people can just play chill. If you want to play solo in a team, whatever. But when you have stuff like leaderboards, I think it's really important that we have some kind of, fidelity to it, you know? That way it's, you can have some competitiveness. Or else why even have leaderboards? But I'm excited to hear what they have. I'm excited to hear what vampiric powers they have. I'm hoping they bring back some of the more popular ones. And like I've been saying recently, I just hope that they don't make you have to unequip a piece of gear for it. I hope it's just something you slap onto your character. You don't have to worry about putting it on, you know, over an aspect or something like that. Because it's already pretty niche, like some of the malignant rings, like the builds you can actually use them for, especially with Druid. You know, you can't really use that specific malignant ring for, you know, too many builds. You can go ahead and use it, but it's not necessary, or just kind of take away a lot of your overall damage. Yeah, there you go. That'd be a perfect way to just throw it into a gym. That'd be great. I mean, Lord knows, like, I get a lot of... I cap my resistances, and with Juggernaut, we get all the armor we need. We really don't need skulls. We really don't need diamonds. So it'd be great if you could throw it in a gym, and we could just sock it into a jewelry piece or something like that. Something simple. Something simple. Not like a whole aspect, because Lord knows, like, playing Druid, I feel like I need 1 or 2 more aspect slots sometimes. And I want to know about this new game mode that they have. Okay, here we go. A little early. They said we're going to start a little early.
Season of the Construct has so much going on.
New quest lines, new legendary items, new unique items, new mechanics, challenges, and more.
All right.
In the Season of the Construct, you learn of a wondrous place beneath
awesome,
the sands
bro.
of
Thank you for
Ketchistan,
letting me know.
filled with untold treasure. Nearly all who seek this treasure never return. Those that do return are haunted, or worse yet, possessed. You seek out this place to put an end to whatever's lurking there.
Following a lead, you discover a sprawling network of underground vaults. It houses the Loom, a priceless apparatus built long ago by the brilliant mages Zoltan
I feel like they
and
should just
Ayujan of Chaldeum
skip this
to shape the
recap.
elements and build tools to serve humanity.
While exploring the network, you rescue Ayujan, only to discover that the demon Malphus has taken over the Loom to create its own private hell.
Malphus is a servant of Diablo. He's unlike other demons we've encountered in Diablo 4.
I wonder how many
He's
takes they
shapeless,
had to do for this.
manipulates
to
others,
look like
takes
they're
on
like,
forms
you know,
other than his own.
trying
He
to put
has
some emotion
possessed
into
one
it.
of Zoltankul's prized constructs.
And you must work with Ayujan to explore the vaults, gain access to the Loom, and defeat Malphus.
This season introduces constructs. These elementally powered monsters were originally
Yeah,
created
the
by
constructs
Ayujan
that
and
one-shot
Zoltan
you
to
from off
protect
the
and
screen.
maintain the Loom. Unfortunately,
Cheers
Malphus
to you
taken control of
guys.
them and twisted them to his
Like,
liking.
oh my god.
They're powered by various different elements, giving them different abilities and strengths and weaknesses. You'll also find them, of course, in
I
the
know,
vaults
right?
themselves, protecting the many treasures within. As players engage with the storyline of the Season of the Construct, they're going to come across a broken version of the Seneschal during the questline. The Seneschal is a special construct that was built to command the other constructs based on Ayujan's and Zoltan's direction. Ayujan of Chaldeum repairs the Seneschal to follow your orders.
Thank you.
The Seneschal construct is your companion. It's a rebuilt construct that will accompany you throughout the season. Your construct's power will grow along with you. The Seneschal construct has
Hey, where's
many
the
different
pyramid?
abilities
Homie
that
didn't
can
have the
complement
pyramid.
the player's build.
They
It
have
can
a
deal
break.
damage, crowd control monsters, or even support you directly by healing you or providing you a damage bonus. Magical stones are the key to customizing and empowering your construct. They are primarily found in vaults. You get governing stones from the season's questline, and you get tuning stones from playing through the season.
Look at the
content.
tempest and
Governing
flash
stone
of
is a core
adrenaline. That's
construct
all that
ability,
anybody
while a
uses.
tuning stone is a
Even
singular
the developers were
modification
like,
for
yeah,
any
these are the
number
only good
of
ones,
governing
but
stones.
As players are progressing through the Season of the Construct and they're leveling up their Seneschal, adding new abilities and improving them, they're going to find abilities that are going to deal damage to packs of monsters, to single monsters.
I
and
know,
also
bro.
abilities that are just
I knew
focused
I knew that was
on
going to
buffing the
be
power of
worthless
the
as
player
soon as I was
themselves,
reading
so
this
that
stuff.
players have different options as they're
Yeah,
progressing.
hey, what's up, Tom? Yeah,
One
let's
cool
recap.
ability is auto
Hey,
defense.
listen, though, they
Auto
did start
defense
early. It
summons
was
a
7
magical
minutes
barrier
before they were
around your
supposed to
construct
start, so
that
they were like,
shoots
hey,
down
let's do a
enemy
recap.
projectiles. Another cool ability that your construct has is Focus Fire. It is a channeled ray of fire that can chain to multiple enemies.
Yeah, okay.
Use combinations of tuning stones to transform a seemingly simple skill into something truly crazy.
While it's trying to catch up to you.
Are seasonal
Don't forget, like, wait till it uses its really special ability while it's trying to catch up to you because you're like 3 screens ahead of it.
You can find the entrances in different zones of Sanctuary. When
Yeah,
the
that's
player
how it
enters
works.
a vault,
Thank
they are
you
met
for
in a
explaining
familiar
that
area
to
of
us.
Sanctuary. Then, the player teleports to the vault proper, encountering great challenges. Vaults not only have our new construct family in them, but also new traps built for this season.
Players are going to discover many new hazards inside these vault spaces. You know, whether it is spinning pillars shooting out flames or other traps.
They
Players
probably
should stay
shouldn't have
on their
recapped
toes
this part.
while they're progressing through these vaults in order to stay alive.
No, we
Each
don't.
vault culminates in
You
a
gave
gauntlet
us so
of
much
true skill.
awards, we just bypassed
Players
all
must
the
avoid
traps.
traps while fighting waves of enemies and a powerful elite. If you survive that, the traps will turn off and the treasure room is revealed. If you get hit by a trap, you lose 1 stack of Zoltan's warding. Zoltan's warding is a special
1 out of
buff
100
players can get
stacks.
by interacting with the statue of Zoltan Cool when they enter a vault.
Yeah.
If they have a pearl of warding. Ward-woven
Yo,
chests
I remember when
are
this
special
first came
chests
out, I was
players
making
can
like
interact
whole
with at
guides
the
for
end
the
of a vault.
dungeons and
If they have
everything, then
enough
they
stacks
nerfed
of
everything, and I was like,
Zoltan's
well,
warding
there
left
goes that idea.
if a player has
I'll
more
just
than 1
scrap
stack,
that
they
idea.
can
Let's
open
not
a
do that.
rare ward-woven chest. Those have even better rewards. This season
Bro,
introduces
that's
our
what Death.
first
That's
stationary
exactly
vaults
what
in
I
Diablo
think.
4.
This is
Listen,
gonna be
I
a fight
swear to
against
you,
this
I don't think the
massive
developers
protective
ever
wall
leave
meant
like
to
World
watch
Tier
over the
1 or World
vaults.
Tier 2.
The Malthus,
Like they've
once
never
again,
touched Tier
has
3 or
managed to
4.
corrupt and control.
Because it's stationary, it gives us the opportunity to include
They
some
probably
of the
just
season's
spawn
new
in their
traps into the
ancestral
arena.
gear and just
This
stay
presents a
in
lot
Tier
of
2.
unique and new mechanics for the
I could just
players to
imagine
navigate
that.
and fight.
The player is going to need to bring all of their skills and abilities to bear as they try to destroy and
His
fight
gear.
off these Malthus-controlled constructs. They're also going to make good use of their own Seneschal, make sure they remain upgraded in the fights to come.
The Gauntlet, leaderboards and
The Gauntlet is a new fixed seed non-linear dungeon.
I like
Players
that,
have
though.
a
Fixed
fixed
seed
amount of
non-linear,
time
that's
to
good.
achieve high scores by proving their might. Any player who unlocks World Tier 4, Torment mode, can compete in the Gauntlet. The Gauntlet starts several weeks into the season of the construct. At the beginning of each week, a new Gauntlet
Probably
replaces
not,
the
my
current
man.
one. Unlike other dungeons, every time you and other players enter the Gauntlet that week, it will be exactly the same. Same monster positions, same affixes.
Yeah, we're
everything.
still, it's, hey, we're
This
getting
makes
some
it a
news,
fair
right? We're getting
competition.
news now. I'd rather them
Additionally,
just nail it
monsters within the
than
Gauntlet
rush
start
it.
at
Like,
level
just
100.
put it out
This is
when
meant
it's
to
ready.
test your
Don't
fully
rush it.
leveled up and geared up
Don't
player.
have to patch a
It's
patch.
highly
That's all I'm
replayable,
asking. Like,
enabling a
one
broad set of
time,
player choices.
put out
Players can
put out
try
a
different
patch that you
classes
don't
and
have to
strategies for
hot
achieving
fix
high scores.
like the day after
Leaderboards
you
are a
put it
place
out.
for top players to compete with one another in the Gauntlet. These reset each week when a new Gauntlet appears. There are solo leaderboards for each class, as well as party leaderboards that vary with party
My only
size.
issue with the
Of course,
point system
there are a
is,
set of leaderboards just for
like,
hardcore
is this an
players, too.
infinitely
Some players
spawning
may not be
dungeon?
ready for that type of play.
Because
So we've created goals
if it
for
is
them
like
as
a
well.
fixed seed,
Each leaderboard
non-linear,
has a ladder.
you know,
You
is it
climb to
infinitely
reach it.
spawning enemies?
Each
Because
rung of the ladder
I feel
awards a
like
seal
if
you
there
can
is
show
a
off.
cap on the
When
enemies,
you earn the seal of the
then there's
worthy,
going to be a
you'll ready
maximum
for
amount of
leaderboard
points you can
competition.
actually get. Like
Can't
there's
wait to
going
see
to
you
be
in Sanctuary.
a max amount of value that you can earn out of any given dungeon on any given week, and then you'll just have a lot of people at the top of the leaderboards, and whoever hit it first is the one who gets first place. I mean, is it going to be like a ton of infinitely spawning
Hello,
monsters?
Diablo community. Welcome to another Diablo 4 Campfire chat. My name is Adam Fletcher. I'm the community director here for Diablo, and I'm joined by two very, very familiar faces. Regular appearing
Exactly,
people on
Tom.
Campfire
You know what I'm
chats. I have
talking
Mr.
about,
Adam
man.
Jackson here, so our lead class designer, and Mr. Joey P, Joe Pipora, our associate game director. He doesn't like it when I say Joey P.
I don't hate it. It's just it feels like a running gag that like very few people have.
There's, yeah.
It's
Me,
like-
Tiffany
more
Watt,
and more.
our production director,
Yeah, it's
very,
true.
very big fans of Joey P.
Joey P on deck. Yeah, what's up?
We have a
Joe
big
looks
Campfire
like
chat
he
to talk
hates
about
his
today.
job.
We have a lot of updates
Joe looks like
to
he's
talk
over it,
about
bro.
for Diablo 4. Of course, we have our mid-season update, which is coming up really soon. In fact, it's coming next week. So players will be able to experience the mid-season update. And along with that, a very big feature that everyone's been talking about and anticipating. I know it's been a long anticipated feature within Diablo 4, and that is the Gauntlet. So we'll be talking about the Gauntlet as well and actually showcasing it here, because that does come with the mid-season update next week as well. So Players will be able to jump into the gauntlet and try it out themselves starting next Tuesday.
All right.
But I know a lot of stuff has happened over Diablo 4 since the start of Season 3.
I know, Joe.
Just recently we released
looking
the
dead out the
1.2
camera.
patch, which was the one that included a way for players who actually have a bunch of Uber Uniques and want to craft Uber Uniques.
Nice.
They can do that by creating resplendent sparks and then being able to craft the Uber Uniques that they specifically want if they have
after you get 5 of them
and stuff. And so, but we do have a lot of new features coming into the actual mid-season update with 1.3.3. One really popular one coming back from Season 2. I know you guys want to talk about it a little bit more right now.
Yes, we have vampiric powers returning from Season 2.
Yep.
Yeah. So we really like being able to bring it back to the malignant powers from Season 1 in the form of the unique rings we have dropping from Barshan in Season 2. Now, as we're looking towards Season 3, in the mid-season patch, we're able to bring back some of the vampiric powers that players really seem to like.
Nice.
We thought were pretty cool. And bring them back in a slightly different form. I think Adam's going to talk about in a minute.
Yeah, we'll be going over all of them and which ones we brought back and what they do. You'll be able to see all of it in a little bit here.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I think we have a kind of a slide to start talking about our vampiric powers.
6
Yeah,
powers.
so
Wow, that's a
really
lot.
we've got
I
6
didn't
vampiric
expect 6
powers
of
that are
them.
really returning from the Season of Blood. They're coming back this time as legendary powers instead of uniques. So unlike the unique rings, these are going to be legendary powers, just like any other legendary power that comes in the game.
Oh.
And they're not all exact one-to-one copies. They're really close to matching their previous functionality and kind of what you would expect them to do. But we brought them back in a way that's kind of evergreen, that they can be sustainable.
Yeah, they can fit in
for a
that
healthy
mix
version
and
of the
match
game.
format.
So
of the
we are
aspect
going to
system,
have
right?
to
So,
Yeah,
replace
so the ones
them
we
with
got here that are returning, you've got Accursed Touch, Blood Boil, Hectic, Metamorphosis, a fan favorite, Moonrise, and the Undying.
No Ravenous, bro?
You can see a
Come
few of them here
on. No
being played out.
Ravenous?
Just in case if you forgot from Season 2.
Yeah.
Here's some of the
They're not
fan
bad
favorite
ones.
Of
I
course,
like
everyone loves
Accursed Touch.
Metamorphosis, a huge big one.
Yep.
Being able to turn into bats, essentially evade through enemies. But as you mentioned, they're coming back as these legendary
Yeah, I
aspects,
know.
legendary powers.
Like, how are we
Yeah,
going
so here we're going to show you the exact text so you can
See Accursed
screen
Touch.
cap that, figure out all the exact differences between these and what's in Season 2. Largely the same, a few differences.
Okay, hey, our Cursed
The biggest
Touch
one I think
automatically
you'll
makes
see in the next
enemies
screen is
vulnerable?
Metamorphosis. Obviously,
nice.
it's really strong. So now it's coming back, but it's going to increase the cooldown of your
5-second
evade.
cooldown on the Metamorphosis.
yeah, it's kind of like that legendary aspect we put in Season 3 that increases your armor,
Oh,
but
it's
also
increased by
increases the
5
duration of your
seconds.
evade timer.
Yes, very similar. So
even
you got a
judging
little
that.
bit of a kiss curse
Yeah,
there.
that light effect, that choice for players to choose. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So yeah, next going into what our updates are, we've got kind of our generic updates here.
Okay.
So the first
Fixed
one a lot of
many
people have
cases
been
of
talking about is snapshotting. We've heard a lot of cases from people
But
they brought up where
there's probably still gonna be
snapshotting is a
plenty
thing
left
that's been
over.
reported to us. And to give a little bit of a kind of a high level view of what snapshotting is, because I know not everybody is very familiar. Snapshotting is this idea that when you get a buff, let's say a damage buff, you're able to hold on to that buff for a longer duration than it would normally last if you use it on a skill that is like channeled or lasts a really long time. So a simple example, this would be like the Barbarian's Whirlwind. If let's say I got a 50% damage buff and it lasts for 4 seconds, if I have that buff on me the moment I channel Whirlwind, it'll keep that buff going until I cancel Whirlwind because I had it when it started. And so if I keep my Whirlwind going forever, I'll keep that 50% damage buff way beyond the normal 4-second time. If the game didn't have snapshotting, then it would just last for 4 seconds, whether or not I started Whirlwind when I had it.
You know,
and
they're
that would be
saying
how long
like
I would
not
be doing the
all
bonus
of it
damage.
probably is going to
So
get
in
fixed.
general, when it comes to snapshotting,
there's still gonna
we
be
kind
some-
of we want
still gonna
to
be
really
some.
remove it from the game as much as we can. It does allow for some kind of cool things, but generally snapshotting is used to do really kind of undesirable behavior, whether it's unequipping and re-equipping gear at certain times or using certain effects at certain times to get way more power than a player should normally be able to be. And it results in the things like people gathering up a ton of buffs and then like one-shotting a boss or things like that in unintuitive ways. So we've fixed every case that's been reported to us so far and we'll continue to, and we're going to move toward more of a systemic approach to taking it out.
It just is such a
Also
bad...
for the gauntlet, because we know that a few people were
unnecessary.
concerned about the gauntlet and how snapshotting would be able to work there.
Cannot be
in the
changed.
gauntlet,
There we go.
Your gear,
Nice.
the skill
That's
tree, and the
awesome.
Paragon board cannot
be changed.
So you can't do
So
any
it's
weird
locked.
things of unequipping, re-equipping
Perfect,
legendaries or things like that to
perfect.
try and gain an advantage.
That's so easy.
What
It's
you
such an easy
bring
thing
into
to
the
do.
gauntlet is basically going to be locked. So it'll be
Nice.
a fair place for people to compete.
That's great, man. That's great news.
And lastly, more generic thing, but the Rogue, we found an issue where the Weapon Mastery passive was double dipping on critical strike damage bonuses, particularly when you mixed Weapon Mastery and the Precision Key passive. Players were able to do way more damage than was intended. So that is another bug fix that is coming in.
They said patch. They meant we watched a YouTube video.
All right, so next let's get into our first round of the class updates. First, we're going to start with the Seneschal construct.
Yeah, the Seneschal class.
Yeah, the Seneschal class.
Yeah.
So really, we've resolved quite a few different bugs and also reduced the power of some things that were overperforming.
I'm sorry.
The first one is that when you used basically AoE buffs like the Barbarian Warcry or the Druid's Blood Howl, the Seneschal would be double dipping in the amount of bonus that it would get in its damage bonus, so we fixed a bug there.
Oh, nice.
And next we did quite a bit of updates to some of the tuning stones. The Poison Support Tuning Stone isn't going to be reapplying the base damage when it spreads. It's going to match more the functionality of other kind of damage over time tuning stones.
Bro.
The Bleeding and Burning Support Tuning Stones were a little bit overpowered, so we're reducing the power of those a little bit as well. And then lastly, the Tempest Governing Stone was basically resulting in a situation where you could get unlimited damage bonuses by it constantly bouncing and getting more and more and more. And so now it's no longer going to get bonus damage and duration when it spreads. It's just going to spread and do that base amount of damage.
I mean, no one was really... I mean, it was kind of...
All right, so next, let's get into the class updates. So we're going to start with the Barbarian.
Gimmicky, but no one
and again,
was
we've got stuff for every single class.
Stuff by yourself
right now,
so
I'm
First
sure...
bullet, very powerful.
Right now, very powerful.
Barbarian's pretty good right now.
Indeed.
As many of you, I'm sure know,
right now, very powerful.
Barbarian's pretty good right now. You know, a lot of people really like Charge, it turns out. It's a really strong skill.
It's a fun skill.
Probably the biggest update you're going to see
high
here,
mobility.
The next bullet point, is that we're not really planning to nerf Charge in this patch. Before, we had talked about kind of our bar for what we would consider to be too strong in the game where we would nerf in a mid-season patch. Charge is like right up there. And we talked a lot as a design team and made a call that we were going to keep it for the rest of the season.
That's so funny.
You know, we know it's really, really good.
What
it's really,
they would
really
consider
strong. A lot of people are having a lot of fun with it.
Just close.
We could have gone either way on this, so we're open to feedback of what the community thinks. But now with the launch of the Gauntlet, we're going to keep it in and kind of see how it rides out. We've been seeing over time that other classes have found things that are also really, really powerful.
It doesn't matter.
Too. So we're gonna try that this season and see how it goes.
Solo maybe.
But in addition to that, we've got some changes coming for Barbarian.
Basic
we
skills,
still get feedback that a lot of their
good.
early game is kind of tough. So we're going to be buffing up a lot
need
of
to
their
buff
basic skills
across the board,
a little bit smoother. And then we're also doing some buffs to some underused skills and upgrades. There's some examples here. We've got Strategic Ground Stomp. The ultimate cooldown reduction is being doubled from 1 to 2 seconds. One of the Iron Skin upgrades and the upgrade for Call of the Ancients is just getting a number increase. And Gore's Devastating Grip. So this is kind of a storied history in our game. Yeah, it was really, really good when the game launched. And now we brought it down quite a bit, and now we're increasing its power a little bit again to bring back Whirlwind builds. So the ranks of Whirlwind are going up from 1 to 2 to 2 to 3.
But I thought Whirlwind was doing pretty well already.
Increasing the amount of the explosion damage a little bit there as well.
I thought Whirlwind was doing really well.
So really, when it comes to what you look forward to the Barbarian, it's really everything because we're not nerfing Charge, but also their early game and Whirlwind builds will be a little bit better as well.
That's good. That's good.
And again, when we're going through all these updates for the classes, this isn't everything that is going in that we're showing you. You'll be able to see the patch notes very soon. But,
yeah, that's what people love, man. Mobility.
Things that are happening.
That's
so
the most.
There is a little bit more for everything, I think, than what we're showing today.
The key to making any class or any build exciting is mobility.
So Incinerate is a skill that we know people have had kind of a hard time really getting a lot of effectiveness out of. So we're increasing basically everything across the board. The damage is going up. All of its upgrades are going up. So Incinerate players should be rejoicing. We've also got quite a few buffs to Conjuration skills coming in. So for people that like using Conjurations. And then also some buffs to really generically used, underused passives and Paragon Glyphs. So really across the board, you're just going to see some buffs.
So we'll probably have to wait for the patch notes.
So here again, for Sword players, Incinerate and really Conjurations are the things.
For Druid, they'll be like, okay, we're going to give a 5% buff to Perfect Storm.
And next we've got the Druid.
All right,
here we go. Quite a few powerful things coming.
Oh, okay.
So similar to the Barbarian, you know, the Druids, we've gotten feedback that they kind of, you know, they have a really, really strong late game, but their early game getting there can be a little bit tedious to go. So we're buffing a lot of their basic skills. We gave an example here for the Druid with Wind Shear. So
I use Wind Shear.
The Spirit generation is going up, the damage is being increased, and the Wild Wind Shear upgrade, which gives you more Spirit when you hit enemies, is also going up. So really just better resource management in the early game.
Wolves, Poison Creeper, and Ravens getting
Druid. So we can pretty consistently hear for players that they really want to make a companion build really work and feel good.
No way.
So we've got some damage buffs across the board for all the companions, particularly Wolves is getting quite a bit stronger. But we've got things for Wolves, Poison Creeper, and Ravens. And then we've got some additional buffs to some underused passives. And then last but not least, the Storm's Companion unique. So this is the one that makes your Wolves howl when they do some lightning damage in AoE.
God.
The ranks of Wolves that you're getting is going to be increased from 2 to 3 to 4 to 5.
Just take off the companion movement speed and add companion skill damage.
And then also the Storm Howl damage that happens when the lightning bolts come down, is being increased by a lot.
When
and so
it
you
happens,
can see here,
like never.
Yeah.
Yeah, so before it was doing like, in this example at this level, like 100 to maybe 400 damage, 150 to 400, and now it's going to be doing closer to 8 to 1300 damage.
What does that even like? But what does that even do? They never cast it, like ever.
Increase. So really, as far as Druids, your early game will feel better for pretty much every build, and then companions and especially Wolves are going to be.
I'll wait till the official patch notes. I'll wait to see what all the other.
Next, we've got the Rogue. So we've got Heartseeker and Force Flare. Their attack speeds are being increased. So, when it comes to basic skills, a lot of people gravitate to Puncture. It's really, really strong. It applies vulnerable, but also you're able to stutter step, and it feels really good when you cast it.
And you're just throwing knives.
Yes, and knife throwing is cool. I can't give everyone knives on every skill, but I also think arrows are kind of cool.
I just think there's areas for improvement.
Knives and everything. Maybe
those aren't really significant for the Druid. It's not going to change anything.
But anyways, as far as how it feels to use, the 2 arrow skills should feel exactly the same as Puncture. As far as how you're able to stutter step, how quickly you're able to cast them, they've been made to match. And then we also heard some feedback that Flurry isn't really feeling as good compared to the other core skills, so we're increasing its damage. And then we're also improving the functionality of both of its upgrades. They're just going to be a little bit more usable. And then Precision, everybody's favorite new change in Season 3. We're actually going to be reducing the stacks required for bonuses from 6 to 4. So this is a buff to Precision. It's really meant to help with actually the rhythm and the way that you feel when you cast it. That how often you get the proc should just feel a little bit better to use when you're using it in combination with other skills.
Because I think I'm going to go ahead and learn Rogue this season.
And then last but not least, we got the aspect of branching volleys. We're kind of redesigning or upgrading this legendary quite a bit. This is with Barrage. When your Barrage arrows bounce, they do more damage, but now we're actually adding a little bit more to it. So you can see here on the left is kind of the old version, which basically said that your arrows had a chance to split into 2 arrows whenever they ricochet.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And I love that zoom in.
Oh, yeah.
So now on the
Too
right,
bad they didn't do that for the vampiric
firstly,
powers.
it's going to increase just the base damage of ricocheting arrows from Barrage. And then also they still keep that chance to split into 2, but that chance has also been increased by quite a bit.
Yeah.
Oh,
so really this legendary just wasn't very powerful or being used very much, and now it should be quite a bit better.
I don't know what that means for the Rogue, but it looks good.
So yeah, as far as things to look forward to, really range builds I think are going to feel pretty good, and then Flurry as well is getting quite a big increase.
It looks like you're getting a big buff there.
And last but not least, we have the Necromancer, and we have a lot to cover here with Necromancer, so hold on to your butts here. So first we got minion buffs.
Minion buffs.
Giant block of text here.
Okay,
so
Necros.
really their damage is being increased by about 20% just across all minions. Their health is going up by about 10%.
Dang, minions
A lot of their passives here you can see are being increased. We got Hellbent Commander, Cult Leader. Corporeal is a pretty big one, I think, that you'll be able to look forward to. So before it was that you and your minions just deal increased physical damage. Now it's also going to be giving you increased move speed for every active minion.
Yes.
So,
Necromancers rejoice.
Minion builds will be
just make the minions
catching
move
up with their army
faster.
and vice
Just
versa
make them
as they go through
like,
the game.
why do you need to have
We also have
something to
Extinction
make them
Skeletal
work
Reapers
right?
where they were
Like, you don't-
spawning too few corpses, and now they're going to be giving a lot more corpses when you take that upgrade. And also just talking about minions a little bit. Minions is one of our big priorities to kind of feel really good. We think that the issue with minions is not just that they're not dealing enough damage, but also we want to increase kind of the cool factor and the way that you engage with them, particularly the golem.
Just give
so
them
we do
this
have
movement
quite a bit
speed.
more coming
Like,
in
why-
season 4
why
that
add
I
it
wanted to let
to-
everybody know about. But this is kind of a little bit of a taste of what we plan to do
The
with
initial
minions.
volley of changes.
The
for
initial
the
volley of
Necromancer.
changes. Yes,
Yeah.
we have a lot coming in season 4 in addition to this. And then next, we've got also buffs
it looks
and
like they're
functionality
getting big
adjustments to a
buffs
bunch
there.
of other things. One example here
Dang,
with the
Necro
passive
gets
is
2
spiked
pages.
armor. And it kind of makes sense that it would give you armor. So now it's also going to give you armor in addition to thorns. Death's Reach is a passive that we're redesigning completely. It used to be that you dealt more damage to enemies that are far away. Now we're changing it to be Death's Advance, which really just gives you move speed. So now, generically, Necromancer players will have a way to just put 3 points in a passive and gain additional move speed more than other classes.
Great, nice, 12%
And then we've
movement
also
speed,
got
while
some
the
core
Druid
skill
has
buffs,
9%,
particularly
while
to
in
Blight,
werewolf
Blood
form.
Surge, and Sever. There's
people-
some number buffs, and I think even some like functionality and other tweaks to make the bulk of them feel a lot better. So really, when it comes to Necromancer players, movement speed is the name of the game here, and also minion builds should feel quite a bit better than before. And lastly, we wanted to talk with you all a little bit about how we do our updates and the timing of them. We've run into a issue, not really an issue, but a situation that happens pretty commonly. So normally when we think about updates, in our last live stream, we talked about how, we kind of made a promise with you that at the start of every season, every class was going to get at least one new legendary and one new unique. And what happens sometimes is we'll have a new legendary or a new unique in the pipe, and we have a cool idea, we've made a new design for something, like I'll give an example, let's say...
I think the uniques were good.
Fireball Sorcerer, right? We have a really cool new legendary for Fireball Sorcerer that we've put in, we've play tested it, it's ready to go. But we don't have a new legendary for every other class to go with it, right? And we kind of run into this situation where we have to decide, like, is it okay to put something into the game when one class will get more than other classes, right? We tend to try and keep things mostly equal when it comes to these updates. And so we kind of wanted to hear your feedback a little bit of would you be okay and would it be cool with the community if when we have more than the equal amount of other classes of updates to do, that we just put them in when they're ready, or should we wait until everybody kind of has parity on things?
I mean, that's pretty
obvious.
obvious.
The other situation where this comes up quite a bit is where, like, we know that a build really needs some help. Like, I'll use Frozen Orb as an example, right? Where Frozen Orb, we want to make a new playstyle for Frozen Orb, and we want to add like 2 legendaries and a unique to really make this thing sing, right? Like, just adding one power isn't enough to make this whole playstyle work. And so would it be okay if, you see in the patch notes in the season that Sorcerer gets, 2 uniques and 4 legendaries and everybody else just gets 1, but we've enabled this really cool thing? Or do you think it's smarter for us to just kind of wait until every class can get a cool new thing of that equivalent amount of stuff coming into the game? So, we're open to feedback here. We're going to be looking at, Reddit and forums and other places, kind of what you think. But we're kind of leaning towards just putting things in when they're ready. But we wanted to turn this into a conversation and let you, the community,
I just don't know why there would be such a discrepancy between classes. Like, why would you not have
post live stream? Or
is there really that is there really that much that you're putting out for one class that you're not doing for other classes?
We'll be looking around and kind of gathering community feedback on like what you guys prefer, and kind of going with that, and listening in on what you guys actually want us to do.
Those are pretty vague,
so please
I'll wait
chime
till
into
the
different
patch
conversations that you guys see related to that topic, because we'll most definitely be checking it out and paying attention. So. And this is just a small, as Adam mentioned, this is just a small piece of what we're actually including in the mid-season update. The full patch notes are actually going to be out tomorrow.
That's what
so we'll end up posting all those before the weekend, and players can check out the full entire patch notes. And of course, this mid-season update includes all the vampiric powers. It also includes Gauntlet, which we're about to showcase here. So it's a pretty beefy mid-season update. And just to remind people as well, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, there's a lot of changes in this mid-season update. What we talked about at the beginning of Season 3 is like the cadence of how we plan on doing these updates. We plan on doing pretty significant changes, of course, at the start of a season, because it's a brand new season, so it makes sense there. And then, we take the time to evaluate, and then we make pretty significant changes in mid-season updates as well, based off of feedback that we saw since the start of the season. And of course, once we get into a new season, things change again, and meta changes, and
I think Moonrise would be good if I want to build like a pure.
There is the rare occurrence as
basic
like, for
attack
instance,
build,
that,
depending on how well they build up the basic attacks for Druid.
That is like absolutely.
Because right now all I do is use
breaking
aspects to do my
that
damage.
we may end up making a tweak on
So
based off of
hopefully,
community feedback. But that is typically the cadence that we had talked about at the beginning of the season.
Hopefully we can actually get something out of that.
We just want to remind players, like, you can always expect these big moments during the beginning and the middle part of the season for itself.
Correct, yeah.
Awesome. So the next thing we did want to talk about is the Gauntlet. This is a long anticipated feature. It is the leaderboard feature, essentially, within Diablo 4. And we actually have a cool like showcase that we want to show you guys here. We have 3 different devs that are.
We're going to show you a showcase.
We're going to show you a showcase.
Just this once.
Showcase. But we have 3 different devs that are going to be joining us, and they're going to be running through their build specifically through the Gauntlet itself. And we are joined by 2 Diablo partners, 2 Diablo content creators who are going to be commentating through this. This is Anna Live and MacroBioBoy. Thank you guys very much for helping us out here. And our 3 devs are going to be, of course, from like here within Irvine, so they'll be playing live here within the studio. Irvine, California.
Yep.
And so we actually have John Constable, who is on the engineering team here for Diablo 4. We have Liam Kerr, who's a associate class designer on the design team here for Diablo 4.
That's kind of disappointing that they made the vampiric powers.
Some people may recognize as Leviathan, a former Diablo content creator, or maybe still a Diablo content creator. He's like behind the camera, I don't know, who will also be running through his build through the Gauntlet, so you guys can actually check it out. But what we do want to do is we do want to hand it off to Anna Clive and MacroBioBoy, who will be running us through some of this Gauntlet stuff, and then we'll come back and we'll give you guys a few little updates about Season 4 and do some Q&A. So,
but I will say that my Direwolf Shred build just got really good.
Thank you so much, Adam. Hi, everyone. I'm
definitely going to be running Metamorphosis on that
to
build.
Be here today, and together with my friend Macro, I'm happy to first time see and comment on the showcase of the Gauntlet.
Hi everybody, I'm MacroBioBoy. I'm your friendly neighborhood necromancer. Yeah, Anna, this is wildly exciting. It's so great that the players finally get to get their eyes on what we're going to be expecting coming out next week. We have the Gauntlet Showcase, 3 amazing developers. These people, they're going to show you all the stops, and we're going to be able to help to kind of bridge the gap, bring you some of that information about the mechanics that are going on, what you're actually seeing, and what you can expect as well. So it looks like, first off, and I'm already incredibly excited for this because you know I'm a Necro boy here, we're going to be showcasing Liam Kerr on the Bone Spear Necromancer. This is like the build I'm
thought they were
going to
do minions.
And it looks like we're actually all set to hop right in. So let's go ahead and give him a second to hop into the gameplay here.
Here we go.
Okay.
And guys,
so we got boss, the 2 more right off
first
rip.
thing that we see the boss, and we just skip
dragging
the boss. The Necromancer,
which I figured would be a thing.
Just running, skipping the boss, proceeding into the dungeon, and apparently trying to get. I already see here is the first shrine. Macro, tell me something about this shrine and about this Necromancer. I know that you definitely want to share with us everything that we need to know about this Necro.
Absolutely. So before I get like too deep into the Necromancer, let's basically just talk about what you're looking at in the Gauntlet. We have 8 minutes to get the highest score possible.
Okay, so
every monster that you kill, every boss that you kill, as well as some chests that we're going to see later on, are going to be dropping proofs of might. This is basically what you're getting, that teal score there on the right side, and it's speed,
like
utility, and
fast.
Strategy is what we care about the most
10K.
here. Monsters are going to be level 124, so this is similar to a Nightmare Dungeon 70 in difficulty. That means that you don't have to worry as much about survivability
124,
or crazy
guys?
damage
oh my
numbers.
God.
You need to be doing just enough to be able to kill things as you run and gun. Specifically to your question about the pillars that we're seeing here,
we're
these
going to blow
unique
through
shrines
everything
in the Gauntlet itself, we have 2 new additions to the game. One is going to be a shrine that's going to respawn all of the monsters in the dungeon. That's right, it's not just about getting through the dungeon as fast as possible, it's about getting through it multiple times over.
Oh, that's
Secondly,
a cool
we have
boss.
another shrine which is actually going to increase how much score you get whenever you complete any of those objectives that I just saw. And then right there, we actually have the return of normal shrines as well. These are going to be dropping off the bosses. Anna, what can you tell us more about these shrines and what people need to worry about strategizing with them?
Oh yeah, that's the whole
Gauntlet. Sorks are going to be
strategy.
crazy.
The shrines going to be always the same. They're going to appear in the same places. And the shrines that are going to be dropping from the bosses, that also will be the same. Then you need to plan your trip through the Gauntlet. Are you going to kill the boss? Are you planning to use those shrines? When are you planning to use those shrines? Once again, the shrines, the special shrines from this Gauntlet, they will be either resetting all the monsters in the dungeon, and here we see our Necromancer just killed the boss first time, resetted this boss, and he's going back and killing him again and getting a lot of proofs of might, increasing his score. By the way, Necromancer current score is already 58k.
That
We are
ain't nothing.
going
This dude's
not
moving
bad.
slow,
We
yo.
are progressing further into the dungeon. The
I'd
map
already
will
have
always
150.
stay the same in this dungeon. It will stay the same for a week. So you can plan your path. You can always choose your way, how you will be progressing in this dungeon. And here we see the second shrine, the second pylon our Necromancer touched.
So to talk a little bit more about the Bone Spear Necromancer, because I could go on and on and on
Seems
about
like a
this
small
build.
map.
I think this is basically going to be everybody's first attempt at what the best meta approach to this content is. Bone Spear has a lot of great mobility as well as ability to spread damage across the battlefield. So whether you're running past monsters and gunning back behind you, kind of training monsters along, players of Diablo 3 would have seen similar strategies in Greater Rifts, kind of bringing all of your monsters together before you waste any time actually killing them. But whether or not you're just like front loading all of your damage and blasting through bosses so that you have that shrine moving forward. Like here we have the Blast Wave Shrine, right? This basically means that the Necromancer will be able to kill as they run, not worrying about having to spend any animation time actually casting their spells themselves. And I think that this is something that people are going to want to really tune into. Not only is the gauntlet the same every single week, so literally every monster is going to be in the exact same place. Every time that you kill a monster that drops one of the keys, those are going to be in the exact same place too. So like I said before, it's not just about doing a lot of damage.
Blast the gauntlet at the last day of the week.
It's about picking every single time you spend any time at all.
Practice throughout the week,
doing damage
or blast
moving.
at the last day.
And I definitely think that Bone Spear Necromancer is uniquely positioned in this way to be able to keep that constant momentum in damage output.
Your Necromancer is doing absolutely stunning. Really, really good. Current score we have 141k. We are going absolutely not bad. And guys, you can see in the corner there are the keys. We don't have yet any keys, but hopefully we're gonna get them soon. You probably also saw that in this dungeon there are special chests. White chests, and a little bit later I think we're gonna see also yellow chests. The chests, obviously, they have a lot of proof of mights. They're helping you to increase your total score. To get the keys, you need to kill some special monsters. The monsters are staying the same, but when you're entering the dungeon, you don't know which monster it is. You will also have to first run a couple of times through the dungeons, kill all the monsters, find out who is actually dropping the key, and probably focus on those monsters. Also, keep in mind that you need probably kill them, couple of them, to be able to open the chests. By the way, we went right back to the beginning of the dungeon, and
it looks like a small
Necromancer now decided to finish our first boss, our Tom Lord, that is waiting here. We have
it's really
2 minutes, 30 seconds left.
He almost died to this.
30 seconds left.
It's really important to recognize that too. So the Tomb Lord, he's a boss that is notorious for moving. And if you're a boss that moves, you're basically the antithesis of a Bone Spear Necro. He wants to keep you in a very specific place. So maybe it's not kill every single pack of monsters. Maybe it's not whittle down every single boss as you go. Since you know where the ones that are going to be the easiest for you to take out, you can make that part of your overall strategy. And running through these sections again and again, getting as much score as possible. Probably the best part about all of this, and it's something that you might not have picked up on immediately, you notice that every single time you kill a monster, like we just saw there, the score automatically flies into you. So this isn't like running a normal dungeon where you have to go back and pick up those 2 veiled crystals that you happen to notice drop. Your only concern is running through this at breakneck speed, killing demons as you go. And the automatic pickup of score, the ability to know exactly where everything is, having that map fully explored, and then eventually memorizing it as the week goes on, means that players are going to continue to get higher and higher scores as we optimize our builds and as we bring better strategies and better timing. Better
imagine a 4-man.
It really calls back to my
just teleporting all over the map
and a little bit in Diablo,
killing everything in the blink of an eye.
Every one of these
that's probably going to be the highest scoring.
The difference between ranking
2-man, 3-man, 4-man,
or just barely cracking through to that top 1,000. But we're honestly seeing a really great showing from the Necromancer here. We have 1 minute left. We've just about cracked 200,000 score. That's actually pretty impressive for this build.
They're going to be in the millions.
Doing a fantastic job showcasing what I think most Necro players' first experience is going to be walking into this content.
Oh, I can hear that you're proud for your Necromancer.
MySpace guy?
Guys, we just entered the room. Guys, you saw that there were a lot of
Or is that Facebook?
Chests,
I can't remember.
but still don't have the keys. And Necromancer need to go through the dungeon, search for the keys, probably search for the shrines, probably reset. The winning strategy here would be resetting the monsters once again, and probably you cannot open the chest, but you will be able to kill a lot of monsters and also
said we gotta make it the whole 8 minutes,
total
guys.
amount, your current score. We are almost reaching 200k, really close, and we have 10 seconds left. Looks good. Looks really, really good for our Necromancer.
Come on,
See,
Neko,
guys,
get over
5.
200k. Oh, and this is one of the issues that you run into. You know, if you've already cleared out that
I love
part
how
of the
they tried to
dungeon,
make this guy's
going back through
gameplay
and
really
kill, you know, there's
exciting.
no more monsters for you to kill, but a
Good
great
for
showing
them.
for the
Good for
Necromancer.
them. They did a
And if
good
you tell me
job. I
little
felt
bit
like
more
they
about
did a
the
good
screen that we're
job.
looking at right here.
We are looking on our total results screen. You can see here your total score. You can see here the amount of monsters that you killed, all the elite monsters that you killed, and all the bosses that you defeated, all the information. And you also can see the information about what you reached, which seal you reached. And our Necromancer, yep, Macro was absolutely right here. Our Necromancer was showing insanely good gameplay, seal of the worthy. This is the highest seal that you can reach as a player.
Insanely
Tell
good
us
gameplay
more
right
about
there.
the seals. What you can say. I know that there are 4 of them. How are they going to work?
So you start all the way down from Seal of the Blooded and then all the way up to Seal of the Worthy. What this basically means is that just running through the gauntlet at all is going to get you that first seal, but you're going to have to crack through higher and higher amounts of total score to rank up to the highest seal. The reason why you want to do that, it's not just bragging rights, as much as the majority of this truly is, but at the end of the week, not only are you going to get a cash just for running the gauntlet every time, you know, a small amount of items just to say like, hey, good job, you spent your time.
Level 70,
but
man.
on top
Like,
of that, if you actually reach the end of
crazy
the
low.
week and you've reached the Seal of the Worthy, you're going to get all of the caches for the 4 seals below that. You're going to get automatic 925 item power that can be ancestral legendaries. It can even increase all the way up to a unique. So it's a much better incentive for people who don't just care about the ego part of it.
Okay.
You know, they're like, hey, I participate. I want to get something out of it. You do too. And being able to get that loot at the end of the week is that nice little cherry on top.
Yeah, and I think that we are ready. For
Maybe
our
they should have done like
second
80,
We're gonna
like
be
tier
joined
80,
really,
85,
really
somewhere in
soon
there.
by the
I feel like
both,
70.
sorcerers, guys.
That's a.
John
I mean, it's going to make a
Constable,
lot of
senior
build
gameplay
viability,
engineer,
but
gonna be showing us
you're just
the
going to melt
sorcerer's
through
gameplay,
enemies
the
so
sorcerer's
easily.
gauntlet. Let's go. I hope. Here we are. We are
Not another
starting,
one.
guys. We are entering once again our gauntlet. Once again, guys, the same map, the same big
not the
bosses
build,
waiting
guys.
for you right in the end. Also, our sorcerers choosing the same gameplay, the same decision
What's
was made.
the
skipping the first
sorcerer?
boss,
The sorc build that
moving
teleports
further
everywhere
into
and
the
bounces
dungeon,
all over?
trying
That's
to
the
get
build, whatever that
second
one
boss,
is.
and probably some pillars. That's an interesting strategy here. And
Yeah, that's
guys,
because of the
this is
gameplay
all
footage they
lightning
showed of the
sorcerers.
gauntlet,
This
but I
is
was hoping they would
community
probably buff it up a
beloved
little bit, man. I mean,
build
70
that
just.
season 2, I don't know.
I mean, we're just going to blow through stuff. You're going to have scores in the millions.
But I don't know.
Easily.
Probably now everyone.
So I think it's
playing
probably just
Incinerate
best to find
sorcerers,
whatever
Incinerate
the
was buff.
whatever will
But
increase your
yeah,
score
you
as you
have
kill
ball
enemies,
lightning and ball lightning
and then just pick that
insane
up. Find
power
that, pick that
rushes
up immediately,
with
then just
buff
bounce through the dungeon, killing
ball
everything
lightning
super fast.
damage with
Yeah, the tele bomber, bro.
power of the
Imagine if four
Yep. Yeah, we
of
go.
those
One more
sorcs
boss.
doing this, bouncing around the
The
map.
best part about, I mean,
destroying
there's going to
everything.
be strengths
I mean,
and weaknesses
you're
to every
probably
build,
like tens
right?
of
You're probably going
millions.
to end up seeing a meta where there are builds that only care about clearing out the trash, that are primarily focused on getting those bosses dead and getting those shrines, because the shrines are going to give you power, obviously. They're also going to give you movement speed. I wouldn't be surprised if
Sorc's
sneaking
gonna
in
be
some
crazy.
shrine duration buff onto either your amulet or your boots ends up being really powerful in the
I think
gauntlet here.
Sorc's
That's a
going to be
quick
really
little,
good. For
pro
Druid, I
tip
would
from
say
your boy.
obviously the shred
But
build.
There's not necessarily one right way to
Trample
do
slide,
this.
like
On
the,
top of that, every
trample slide
class,
build that I
every
made,
ladder that
builds
you're
like
in
that
is actually
are really
judged
good.
individually.
I know people
So
love the shred
necromancers are going to
boulder
be judged
build.
against other necromancers.
I mean, it
Sorceresses
hits really
against
hard,
other
but I don't think you need
sorceresses,
that kind of
so on
damage.
and so
I think you
forth.
could probably do
so
it
where
faster
some
with
builds may not have the mobility, but
builds
they
that you
have the
don't
boss
have to
kill
worry
speed, or
about,
maybe they
like,
have the
knocking
density clearing,
enemies
but not
around.
the mobility. The exact strategy for each individual class is going to really make or break what ends up being the meta for the gauntlet, which is one of the things that I think is the most interesting about this. Whereas things like the Abattoir of Zir really just pushed us to the question of how do you do the most damage and survive the most damage, here some of those considerations aren't really as important. We're playing a different game at this point. But the Ball Lightning Sorceress, like amazing mobility, great density clearing. You notice that slowed down a little bit against that boss, though. Depending on the scenario, this might be one of those builds where you basically ignore the bosses whenever possible, unless they have a particularly juicy shrine that you really want to be able to use moving through. But here we have the increased favor drops. We got the reset there, so he's actually able to pop right back into that room where he just got a shrine, kill this boss again. It's just really interesting to see what kind of meta is going to develop as we get further and further into the season.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah, here
this
we
is
see.
this is exactly
our sorceress is going pretty
this is exactly
good.
why
The
they
bosses,
should have
probably,
the
it's
content
worth it to
creators
stay here
actually play,
again to spam
not
the island
devs, man.
and to use the power of the island. And guys, gonna tell you a little secret. You better not die in the gauntlet. Hardcore players, yeah, I understand, but for softcore players, if you're gonna die, you're gonna lose the third of your score. You're gonna respawn in the dungeon. You will be able to pick up your score.
What's
but
up,
only
Joey?
if you will run back to the place where you died.
No, they
And,
haven't
yeah,
done the
this is
update
again,
yet.
you're wasting
So
way
the
too much
Tuesday,
time if you're dying
we
in
get to the gauntlet.
Here
Tuesday.
once again, our sorceress.
And we'll get the
way,
official patch
current
notes
score for
tomorrow.
Our sorceress is
So I'll be going over the
1K.
official patch notes as
We
well.
just reached 1K,
There's a lot of changes to basic skills for like Druid and Barbarian. There hasn't been like a ton of there hasn't really been any nerfs.
I want someone to finally
more
open
buffs
the
to
chest.
some things that aren't
But,
working as
yeah,
well as other
so
things.
far,
So
no one can get
Necro
it.
Companions
These
are getting a
quite
big
rare.
buff.
Only
I mean,
special
Necro
monsters
Minions,
dropping
Druid
them.
Companions are getting a buff.
Yep.
Rogue
4
is
minutes,
getting quite a
4
few
minutes
buffs
left.
to Barrage.
Yeah, so just over the halfway point, it
This
does
is
look like
just
the
them
sorceress,
showcasing
their
the
natural
gauntlet,
mobility.
but-
I mean, she could teleport, right? That's obviously going to go a little bit faster than somebody running on their 2 legs, but already doing a really good showing.
But
We're
we'll be
definitely going to
getting
crack
Gauntlet
over that
Tuesday.
200k, probably closer to like maybe 300, depending on whether or not he turns on the turbo boosters here. But you're talking about those keys, and maybe I'm just going to spitball this while we're watching here. My mind's kind of already going crazy, theory crafting, trying to figure out what's going to be the best way here. But to be able to open up these chests, like you said, you have to kill specific monsters in the dungeon. They will drop the key. Now, there's the regular chest, there's a golden chest. Obviously, big gold chest, worth more points. But the interesting part here is that how valuable is that for you in your current route is going to completely depend on where you went
there won't
first.
be like a
Do you
route.
zerg your way all the way up to that
Like,
key?
there may
knowing
be
that you
like
passed
a
by a gold
starting
chest in your
point,
typical,
You're just going to
fully
cycle
optimized
through
route?
that same.
Or is that just not part of your strategy at all?
I mean, you're just going to grab
There's
the
an
the
interesting
shrines
dichotomy
that
there
give
where
you a
it's
ton
just,
of
like, depending on
points.
where the keys are spawning on the monsters in that week's gauntlet, maybe they are huge, maybe they're pivotal to how you can actually get the highest score possible, or you kind of have to make the decision a couple
Seems
seconds
pretty
left in your
small.
run. You're like, hey, I got 1 or 2 keys. I see a couple normal chests coming up. I know I'm not going to be able to reach the gold chests since those are in the same spots as well. I'm going to make that mad dash. I'm going to get back up into there, get those 2 little chests. Sure, that's like good enough for me on this run. But
Yeah, it
being able to
doesn't
make
seem
those
like the maps are
decisions
too
in the
big
heat
that
of the
you'll have
moment,
to
or at least at first,
spend too much
when
time
everybody doesn't necessarily have
worrying
their
about, like,
best route
having
already
time to get
mapped
back to
out
the
at that
chests.
point, is going to be where those like small little spikes in score. I'm really, really excited to see the leaderboard as it develops. Obviously, you're going to be able to see the actual builds that people are bringing into the gauntlet on that same leaderboard, but you're not necessarily going to know how they ran through it, how they prioritize killing bosses versus the elites, etc. So there's still going to be a little bit of mystery, but at the very least, you'll be able to copy the build if you can at least see the gear that they have.
What do you guys think about
Gonna be
that?
a
Do you
lot
think
of
people should be able to see
Actually,
your
how I
builds?
see it right now, it's really a lot about your strategy and not that much. Yeah, your build obviously will be super important.
I feel like maybe they
quick
should
are you, how
save
quick
the
you can kill
builds
the
for the
big
end of the
groups
week.
of monsters, how quick you
Not
can
necessarily
kill the
the
bosses.
like
but your
as
strategy,
you run
I
it.
think this will be the key. Your path through this dungeon, this will be deciding. And yes, the leaderboard will be moving from day 1, and then the very last day, someone gonna sneak in and will be the top of the leaderboard. Yep, interesting times
Yeah,
ahead.
this is exactly what's
Our
going to happen.
sorceress, guys,
Everybody's going to wait till the
closing
last day,
almost
then blast the
200K,
leaderboards like
and we
crazy.
entered this beautiful room with a lot of chests. We had 2 keys. We opened 1 chest. We opened the 2nd chest. We are getting a lot of points. We are really, really close to 200K, and we are moving forward. White chest and yellow chest, they both actually cost only 1 key to open. But obviously the yellow
Yeah,
chests, they are
basically, you
bigger,
don't
they
need
are
Dolmen
shiny,
Shred,
they
man.
are
It's
giving
gonna
way
waste your
more
time.
points.
You're just
So,
gonna
yeah, you need to
run
focus,
Shred
you need to
and run
prioritize
Gibbous.
and you need to
Shred and
prioritize the yellow
Gibbous, you're gonna
chests.
destroy everything
We
in
reached
a tier 70.
208k, 43 seconds left.
Shred,
The
Gibbous,
other thing that I just really
everything
want to
dies.
hammer on here is, again,
Or
so
you can just
this
run like a
Sorceress's
two-hand
score, although it's
whatever.
going to be
It
a little
doesn't
bit
need to
higher
be
than the
Gibbous.
Necros that we just saw, not by a country mile or anything, but this score is insular to this one leaderboard. The Sorceress's score is only going to be compared against everybody else running the Sorceress. While you can check your ego and check against the other Necromancers,
even with the
that
bosses,
has no
like the
impact at
bosses.
all looking at any other class about how you're going to rank in that leaderboard, whether or not you're
You
going to
need
be
anything that
immortalized
carries
in
your
the halls
damage
forever
with you,
if you hit that
basically.
top
Like
10 rank.
or you
But on
don't
top of
have to
that,
wait
it's not
around
gonna
or worry
impact
about
this,
positioning,
rewards that you
knocking
get or
enemies
anything
out of the
like
way.
that. You just need to
Anything
worry
that
about
can
what
pull
every
enemies
other
towards
sorceress
you,
in this
anything
game
that
is
can
doing.
kill the
If
enemies
you're in a
right when you
party,
hit
you only
them,
need to worry about what
stuff
those
like
other
that.
party
That's gonna be
sizes
your
are doing.
primary. And then
It's
speed,
probably
movement
my
speed.
favorite part about this.
Movement speed, movement
while there's going to be
speed.
differences between the classes, I only need to worry about my class. But perfect. Sorry, I was gamering on here. We got another Seal of the Worthy completion, over 200k score.
Yeah, that's going to be millions, man. They're going to be
monsters,
people hitting millions
monsters.
in this. I
If
feel
I
like.
could ask for anything, I'd love to see these kind of stats basically at the end of all content in the game. Maybe I'm asking for too much, but seeing those numbers,
I'm actually pretty excited to try out my Direwolf Shred now that I can get Metamorphosis.
Yeah, it's really, really nice to see actually what I accomplished, how many poor demonic souls I sent back to hell. Yeah, I can understand. And we got the reward immediately after each time when you're entering the gauntlet, you're going to be getting a small reward and you're going to be getting a big reward in the end of each week, depending which seal you reached. I think we are preparing our
I have an
player.
entire
I have a
dire werewolf shred build that I had created that has max movement speed.
Charge barb. I know everyone.
And you can use Mad Wolf Squeak.
So you're gonna be
Mad Wolf Squeak is gonna be really good for this
soon.
So
Charge
movement
Hoda
speed, shred.
That is that's going to be season 3. Season 3 is going to be Charge Hoda Barb. We could just put that up on a banner somewhere.
I don't
we
think
could take
so.
down the construct symbol and just put Charge Hoda smashing through the game. No, but Leviathan is an absolute legend from the community. Fun fact about Leviathan: we actually lived in the same city for like a grip, and we just never got the chance to actually sync
It's
up.
gonna be Sword.
But just like you were able to meet him at BlizzCon, he's a phenomenal dude. Shout outs to Leviathan. But it looks like we're actually ready, so let's go ahead and hop into it.
Yep.
Enough sharing, anecdotal stories. Let's see this Hoda Barb. Big boy, big sword.
Let's see.
I'm excited for this.
And then nothing.
Yep.
Just doing Hoda Barb things. No, he decided that 15 million overpower was the way he wanted to approach this
15
scenario.
million. Come on now, guys.
But the Charge Hoda Barb. So I think this is kind of like the apex predator of this type of content. We are working with a mobility skill in charge that's also going to be able to clear the trash for you. You have giant Hoda smashes so you can bring down bosses quickly, as long as he has all of his buffs going up. And basically being able to meld these two concepts together is what every class build strategy is ultimately going to have to look for. Maybe you're running double mobility aspects, both one on your boots and
there's going to be a lot, man. I feel like there's going to be quite a few builds that kind of come
remember, these monsters are only level 124. It means that they're 30 levels lower than any tier 100 content you're doing. And I figured this guy was about to get 2-shot, but he's giving up a little bit more of a fight here. Let's see. There we go, Leviathan. GG. Big channeling shrine.
Why are they
more mobility?
I don't like the fact
not worried
that they're
about
not
resource.
This using legit builds.
This is what we're looking for in Gauntlet content. This power. Jeez. All right, calm down. We need something to be able to talk about here, Leviathan, my boy.
No, he's absolutely smashing. He's absolutely destroying. But like this, if you're not gonna plan, you're gonna soon run out of the monsters. You need to focus on where actually the shrines that are resummoning the monsters.
Yeah, that's going to be the biggest thing to do is memorize where the shrines are.
Yep, he's absolutely
that resummon the dungeons, the monsters, and then just create pathways to circle back to those every time.
Already 64k, quite insane. And I believe in our Leviathan. Leviathan, by the way, he was one of the best demon hunters.
This isn't a reflection of how it's actually going to go down.
Now and absolutely understandable why he's smashing.
Like, this is definitely this is so slow. Like compared to what's actually going to be happening.
Also,
this is incredibly slow.
That you need to obviously memorize the map. You need to memorize where all the monsters are. You need to memorize where the shrines are. what we have here, apparently all the shrines that are resummoning the monsters, the shrines that are giving you also extra score, they're located mostly in one part of the dungeon, and the chests are located in the other part of the dungeon.
So if you guys want to practice, just run tier 70s.
Strategizing here.
Maximize your damage for tier 70s.
Something interesting to note. All right, I'm going to get a little bit deep on details here, because I assume most people haven't studied how shrines work in this game enough to know the numbers off the top of their head. But basically what you're looking at is a 30-second buff that is also going to give you 35% movement speed. The cool part about shrines is that each one of them can layer on top with other unique shrines.
It's not a good reflection.
A channeling shrine as well as a blast wave shrine as well as an artillery shrine.
The scores are going to be crazy.
But getting the same shrine again doesn't actually do anything for you. While it's going to reset that 30-second timer, it's not like you have double blast wave and double movement speed. So when we saw that loop where he actually came back through and immediately killed that boss again, while it makes sense, he knows it's there, he knows it's worth a lot of good score, that doesn't necessarily mean he got the total benefit out of that single shrine. And being able to basically lily hop, or frog hop over these shrines, always maintaining at least one constant buff for them, might be a way of being able to add on mobility to a build that doesn't normally have it. So maybe you're a huge boss killer, but you can't fit mobility anywhere. As long as you can plan out how often you get these shrines, you could effectively link together a full 8 minutes of shrine buff, maybe even longer.
Yeah, but you'll be, obviously you'll be focused on killing everything.
There's so many things that you could be picking out of here, right?
You have
stopping
8
at
minutes
individual
as your cap,
little monster packs to make sure
you're
that
not really going
your
for
buffs.
You're not really going
so even if you're not necessarily killing them or they're not high value, you know that you're going to be operating at maximum efficiency when you walk into the next room, where we always will know there will be an elite monster.
Your time every
there will always be a boss monster in one of these tiles here. My brain is going crazy right now.
I just felt like
I
was hoping the bosses would move faster, so
you
have
something
drag
to really strive for.
I thought you could drag
game,
them out of the rooms
right?
and stuff.
We got the
now
gear.
They
we finished all of our farming, all of our grinding. What do we do with it? Well, here's what we do with it. Now we actually
no
have
real strategy to
re-theory craft,
grouping everything together and then
not to mention all the changes coming in this patch alone. I'm gonna have to rethink all the builds I was expecting to be able to bring into here and test them. That's probably the biggest. The biggest chagrin I got is, geez, I got to come up with all brand new builds to incorporate the vampire powers as well as whatever changes actually come to the core skills themselves as well.
I can hear that Macro is starting theory crafting already right now. He's already tucked here. I'm turning left, here I'm turning right, here I'm touching this. We already in the process of creating the guide how to do it. Our Barbarian, 217k total amount of proofs of might, going really, really strong. It was actually really, really cool. We were already saying that every character has...
You see how the charge is pushing enemies out of the way though, and he has to go back and grab up enemies. Obviously you won't have this issue when you actually use a Barbarian build. But for other classes that have stuff like that, who have moves that kind of push enemies away, that could be a bit of a hassle.
And this is great.
Unless you're completely min-max and one-shotting everything. That's why I probably wouldn't run any kind of border build, just for the chance that you'll push enemies out of the way and you have to kind of backtrack.
Amazing. And it's all coming already.
Just for efficiency's sake, you probably want to just go with something that kills it right away.
A lot of fun here. Leviathan is moving really, really quick. We have 2 minutes left. We are hitting 236k. He is going on the second run. Basically, he is going again, repeating again his run, but he resetted all the monsters. He has here really, really good choice. He did really good choices, and he had really good chances.
That's a secret sub-stat that I wish we could see on this board. How many total miles or kilometers have you run through this individual gauntlet? Because I'm pretty sure Leviathan has cleared this thing out already 3 times over.
Yeah, I mean,
and he's still got a cool minute and a half left on the timer here. Definitely going to crack over 300k as long as he doesn't hit a dry patch where nothing had been respawned yet. But, I mean, the dude's great at what he does. There's a reason why you anchor him here, being able to show off the best of the best. And the other interesting part, something that we didn't quite touch on, is you don't just get the rewards from one ladder. There's nothing stopping you from going and doing this on your Barbarian, doing this on your alternate Necromancer, doing this in multiple group types. You could theoretically hit the top of every single ladder. If you're, a crazy master grinder like Wudijo, maybe you go crack softcore and hardcore ladder too. Why not?
That's fine.
There's nothing stopping you from competing in as many of these arenas as you have builds to be able to support that competitive nature. I'm only going to worry about the Necromancer. I don't have it in my brain to think about a single other class with how much I need to worry about theory crafting this one. But
so
I'm wondering
you
who's
can
going to be
basically
able to
get
collect
ranked in
the
every
most
single
top
class.
leaderboard spots. Eating them all up.
There's someone out there who has all of the classes
I'm
ready
pretty
to
sure
go.
that's going to be the new community challenge. Be able to be number 1 on 16 leaderboards. Okay, I'm wondering who that's gonna be now when this content actually will be in the game. We have, guys, a little bit more than 10 seconds
Yeah,
left.
that's what I'm
We're
saying,
gonna
man.
hit
They're-
300K. I'm pretty sure.
Someone's going to be
Come on.
shooting for
Come on,
every
find
single
someone.
class
Find
at the top
someone.
of the boards. It's kind of funny.
He did too good. He
Almost.
killed everything already.
Almost.
So close, boss.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to
So
boil down.
close.
They're going to. I already see it right
See
now.
these numbers,
They're going to be
though.
like a few days after they release Gauntlet. They're going to be like hot fix,
81 monsters, 53
decrease
released, 9
respawn
bosses.
time on the
Obviously,
monsters.
the most that we
Because
saw
that's
at
what's going to
everybody's
happen.
Showing, but
People are going
phenomenal
to
job here by
kill through these
Leviathan,
monsters
as
so
always.
fast.
It's exactly what we
They're going to hit the
expected from them.
shrines, kill through that stuff so fast that they're going to have to
Absolutely
wait
zeroed out.
for the monsters to
Macro,
respawn.
must
I
say,
truly think
I'm
that's what's
really,
going to
really
happen.
excited, and I really like that you can get not only the rewards that we're
If
getting.
you
so
just
quickly,
seeing how fast he was clearing
getting
that
the
stuff
new
without
map
a really good
absolutely
build.
every single week, and we're getting the rewards in the end of every single week. We're also
Dang,
getting the rewards
Necrosorc
after
and
every
Druid.
single run. And yep,
On
I'm happy
hardcore?
that
All
people
right.
who are probably not
like that.
seduced by the leaderboard.
I'll probably just do
will be
Druid,
way
hardcore, softcore.
tempted to try it and to see maybe the leaderboard, maybe the gauntlet is something.
But I think it's going to be
for them.
like
I'm
everybody's going to
just
save their best
really,
pathway,
really
like whatever they
excited about
think.
what's waiting for
I
us
wonder
next.
because you can
What are you
probably quit
excited
out.
about
So I would
gauntlet
probably
content?
quit out before you.
I mean, if I
get
had to
your
pick
score
just
on the
one thing,
leaderboard.
it really comes down to this idea of developing a strategy over a week. We realize, right?
Yeah,
as
probably
content
might be
creators
hitting
and
it too
streamers, we have
early.
a bit of privilege here. The funny part being that everybody is going to be able to watch your strategies. If you're making videos about it, if you're going over strategies, discussing it, basically it's out there. It's open for people to be able to see. So being able to come up with these, maybe a little secret strategy, maybe you save it till just the last couple days and you actually finally test it out.
V-Day.
That's probably what's going to be the most exciting for me. It's just this idea of
Oh yeah, there's not going to be
just
any
about
streamers
damage,
like
it's not just about
showcasing
stats on
their
your gear,
actual
it's how good of a plan can you
pathway
get,
and all that other
actually
stuff. 'Cause
create, and how
everybody's
well
going
can
to
you
want that
execute on it,
illustrious
which like truly
rank one
tests
whatever
the
class they
player's
play. They
skill
want that to be
in a
able to
way
put in their
that the other
title of their
content in the
videos.
game just currently doesn't offer. But I think that's just going to go ahead and do it for us. This has been such a pleasure, Anna. Thank you very much for sharing this with me. I hope that everybody really enjoyed what they saw here.
I actually hope so too. And yeah, macro theory crafter here, absolutely. Had zero doubts that you're going to say this.
I'd be
Guys, it was
surprised
an
though if any
incredible pleasure
streamers
to
get
be
it.
here.
I
was
would be
really,
surprised.
really
Now maybe in
meant
group
on the
play
first
you'll see
gauntlet.
streamers get it,
I'm
but I feel like
Anna
there's
Cake
probably someone out there
follow, like, and
who just
subscribe.
grinds the game
And
like crazy, and they're going to
we-
be the ones at the top of the board.
Macro, you want to say something? You want to add something?
Yeah.
Like even with
and
DJ,
again, my
as
name is
skillful as he
Macrobioboy.
is, this isn't going to
Macrobioboy
require
on
skill.
everything. If you
Like this
care,
is not
see me
going to
go try
require
to smash
skill.
the Necker through this gauntlet.
This is
Thank you
literally
again to
just gonna
everybody.
be
It's an
running as
absolute
fast
honor
as
here. I
possible.
think we're going to go ahead and throw it back to Adam
And then
everybody
having
in
a
the
good pathway
studio.
through the,
Hope that everybody enjoyed seeing the
content.
gauntlet, and I can't wait to see you all out there next week.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Macro,
Yeah.
Anna, for taking us
great.
through that. Of course, our 3 volunteers from the dev team. We got John, we got Steven, and Liam for running through.
Yeah, everybody great. Yeah.
Steven actually hit, actually all of them hit higher scores than they did when we were first running through this.
They did.
They were learning
Somebody
they were
practiced.
learning the dungeon because again, with Gauntlet, it is a weekly dungeon that does get changed
Yeah, it's
over.
fixed. I mean, every spawn, every creature that you come through, every chest location, every key drop, like every boss, every shrine. Yeah, it's
My
all-
boy's
it's all
killing it,
fixed every
grinding
time
like
you do the runs,
crazy.
and that's what allows you to have that sense of like, okay, I know a little bit more about this space now. I can run it again. I'll do a little bit better.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and I know with we saw some questions of like players.
Yeah,
you
Kettle.
know,
That I mean,
going,
I don't
"Hey,
mind the
because we have 3 different
competitiveness of
classes
it.
here." And
It's
again,
just
they're
like
all on
there's
their
no
own,
difficulty
unique
behind it. So
leaderboards
Yeah,
themselves.
every class has some
it's
unique
really
leaderboards.
just
So when you're playing, when you're
find the
playing,
best
Charged Barbarians
pathway,
in season. You're playing against other barbarians.
most efficient
you know,
way to
for
get
on the-
through it,
on the leaderboard.
the most
But we also
efficient way
have
to hit the
2 players who
resets,
play on
stuff
4
like
player
that.
leaderboards as well. for
And
players who
then,
want to get into parties
you know,
and try to
obviously the
compete.
score is the
So we
score
think that's
after
really,
that.
really exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I know in regards to rewards and stuff, like depending on the seal that you get, you'll actually get more caches, and the caches themselves offer up a 1 925 like ancestral that I believe is in in each cache. So I believe if you get a seal of worthy, you end up getting 4 each time. And these aren't exactly like the idea of Gauntlet itself is really aspirational. So there are opportunities for players themselves to, of course, earn themselves into the Hall of the Ancients.
Yeah, that's really it. More gear to salvage.
Kind of, added onto a permanent record.
Man, I really was wishing that the vampiric powers would be something different
forever for each week in the Hall of the Ancients, depending on where you actually land on the leaderboards.
Yeah, we don't really want to see the Gauntlet and the Trials feature as a place where players go to try to get gear for their builds. Really more of a place where players are going to go once they've got like really good builds put together to kind of try things out. But yeah, for players who do manage to clear, for every seal that they manage to complete at the end of the week, based on their highest ranking, they're going to get a cache that you called out. And there's a high chance of unique items actually appearing in these caches as well. So you can get 925 uniques out of these. But again, these are really like, more augmenting other things you've been collecting over the course of the season, not like being the primary reason.
I don't feel like it needs to be gear anyway.
Yeah,
I feel like they could just give
we
us
actually have a
something
blog
different.
that's going up after the stream that actually details out all the information in the Gauntlet, including some other rewards as well for players that hit like the really, really high ranks of, where they can potentially earn some cosmetic items as well for Gauntlet. So Gauntlet, again, hitting next Tuesday. And I know for like the first couple weeks, we want to make sure that players are jumping in.
I want to know what they have about this
especially with these new changes that are coming with the mid-season update, the vampiric powers and everything like that. And then, let us know what you guys think. And then post up feedback on, Reddit, forums, social media. We're going to be checking it out for Gauntlet, making any tweaks if we need to make any tweaks. And then I know we actually have a cool contest that's coming up here, starting on that's tied back to Gauntlet. It's actually starting on March 19th. We're calling it Leaderboard Legends, but the top players in each of the leaderboards, and there are. Again,
they
leaderboards
passed
for
by
all the different
they
classes.
passed by
We're all
the
solo, and at the
powers
same time
so fast.
For,
I think I read.
hardcore as well.
I think it gives
So
unstoppable. I
if,
believe I
if
read
you
that.
play
It
in
gives
hardcore,
unstoppable,
if
but
you
it
die
increases your evade
in
by
NA
like 5
Gauntlet,
to 10
your
seconds.
character's gone. It is hardcore for that reason. So, but we will have opportunities for players to actually earn an exclusive art print from an artist named NikoWrex. He's a huge Diablo fan. He actually is making a customized art print. That contest itself will be running for 2 weeks. So we'll have more information on that contest as we get closer to March 19th. But players that do compete on the leaderboards, they'll have the opportunity of actually earning a exclusive like customized art print as well, which is actually pretty cool. So Gauntlet shipping next Tuesday, and it'll be in our mid-season patch notes that we have going up tomorrow. So, and we have a blog going later today with a lot of stuff posting. So, really cool
so much stuff happening.
Yes,
now here
exactly.
at the back end. Yeah.
One thing we did want to hit on, and this is some pretty big news from our end. One is it's an update regarding Season 4. And I know Joe.
This is what I do
want to talk a little bit about it.
So I'm very excited. So we've been talking about Season 4 a little bit, but like leading up to the release of Season 3, I mentioned some things about Season 4.
I know.
We know there's going to be a lot of changes being made in that season.
So the
you may
gauntlets,
recall for some of you who've been around since the launch of the game.
bloodthirsty powers,
we had
which are
some
just
streams,
aspects.
after Season 1 went
so
live.
far,
we talked a
Joey.
little bit about some of the changes we wanted to make in Season 2.
And then some buffs.
We'll remember that like vulnerable damage to vulnerable targets was like an extremely powerful stat, an all-encompassing stat, really in that part of the game. And we had to go back and we really wanted to take a harder and longer look at that, look at overpowering some other things, and try to get the game into a better place. There were just more viable stats for players to proceed with, and that was a good amount of work, I think, that we can suggest. It was a really great impact on the game overall, but it was there's some work involved.
Yeah, I would like to see
Season
them
4
make
goes well
the,
beyond like the scope and
gauntlet
scale
more
changes that we
difficult,
made in Season 2, particularly with regards to things like our stats, attributes, and the way that rewards work. So while there were a lot of things that we did in Season 2, and we're really happy with a lot of things in Season 2 as a result.
How do you find them? I would assume you get them from drops, man.
Game experience
it's just going to be annoying.
We have a lot.
You're going to have to figure out what you need to remove.
The team's been hard at work for months and months working on a
they'll
lot
have
of these
to be
things
dropped until they fix the codex.
So Season 3 came out. We had some changes with it.
It's kind of disappointing in my opinion. I didn't want them to be
something
something you had to give stuff
Season
up.
4 is going to be responding to a lot more of the reward concerns that players have, a lot of things with regards to itemization, and other things we're not going to talk about just yet. But the news that we actually wanted to talk about today is that we're going to be opening up a PTR for Season 4 so that we can get a chance to let the community come in and test it extensively before the content actually goes live when Season 4 launches. So it'll be coming up, while Season 3 is still active.
Well, there you go. That's a big one. Having a PTR
will go live and players get a chance to check that out.
We needed
Give us
that
the feedback, and they find issues and balance things, and we'll get a chance to kind of
yes,
all that
it does,
and make
Joey.
changes as we go.
Indeed, it does.
Yeah, and I know players themselves have been asking, hey, how can we make Diablo a better experience? We want to be a part of it.
Totally.
It's something that the team here has most definitely heard. Yeah. As Joe mentioned, there's a ton of changes, especially around itemization that are coming into Season 4. So the team here really did feel a need for a PTR for players to jump in, try it out, provide their feedback, while Season 3 is still active, of course, because we want to make sure that players are jumping in before Season 4 actually does start, and giving us that feedback so we can make any type of tweaks and changes from our end. And I know the team here has been doing a lot of work to incorporate a PTR into Diablo 4, especially for the first time. And so what we will say is
going to be really good
PTR,
going forward.
Of course, will be before Season 4 starts. We'll actually have more
nice that they have one
here,
so soon.
In the coming weeks. We're actually going to have another Campfire chat specifically focused around PTR and the content that you'll be playing in PTR. So it's kind of, it will be a little bit of a reveal of what you'll be experiencing in Season 4 as well. So it's going to be...
There'll be some things we'll hold on to talk about.
Some things we'll hold on, not everything.
But a huge amount of stuff. Huge amount of stuff to talk about for them.
And I will say it will be we're already talking about it and going like, wow, it's going to be a pretty beefy Campfire chat coming up here in the next couple of weeks. We'll have more info soon. But and one thing that we did want to note is it is just PC Battle.net to be as agile as we want to be with the changes on PTR.
So no console love, guys.
For us, so players on PC.
I'll stream that stuff, but not on console.
Themselves. And I will say with PTR, because of the changes that are coming with Season 4 and the amount of changes, as I said, the team felt like, hey, we need a PTR to make sure this happens. Does that mean we'll have a PTR every single season? Maybe not. It depends on the scale of changes that we have. But for Season 4, we most definitely plan on having a PTR. And so we'll have news on that.
Why not have it every season?
We're really excited that players can jump in, provide feedback. I know it's a long-awaited thing that people have been going like, oh, we would love to be able to jump in and provide some feedback.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been playing Season 4 internally for weeks at this point, leveling up a character from 1 to 100, and it's a blast. I'm really looking forward to getting more feedback and thoughts, just getting more eyeballs and some of the stuff that we have planned. It's going to be very, very cool.
Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, like I said, we'll be back here in the next few weeks. We'll have information on when that Campfire chat will be for PTR and all the information that you guys will be experiencing in that PTR specifically. So, and just because I know not everyone has experienced a PTR. I probably should
he's been
define
leveling
what a PTR
for weeks now.
It is a public test realm. It is the ability of players being able to jump into a earlier build.
Yeah, exactly,
and
Tom.
kind of
you gotta have that.
Think of it like almost like a
finding
mini
bugs,
beta
making sure
test
everything
of
gets
some
released
sort,
without a hitch.
To experience content that is coming down the line.
It's like free player testing. Why would you not want to have it?
Provide feedback over to us, and then we can make changes before things do go live. We've had PTRs for Diablo 2, we've had PTRs for Diablo 3, and of course now we have PTRs for Diablo 4. So really excited for that, and again, we'll be back in a couple weeks to talk about that.
Right.
We'll now jump into Q&A.
Yeah,
we know that a lot of people have questions, and we'll try to get through as many as possible.
Buffs.
And then,
vampiric powers are now aspects.
We'll remind everyone,
so good luck finding where you need to put those on your build.
The site for all the gauntlet information and stuff like that. If we can't get to stuff,
vlogs going live.
Live.
Yep.
So I know one question that we've seen a lot, at least within the community, is regarding the changes in 1.3.2. With the crafting changes, the ability of being able to craft Uber.
Yeah, I'll run some nightmares.
We've seen
I just want to watch the rest, see what they have to say.
To that, especially related to Resplendent Sparks, how many are required for them. I know you guys wanted to talk about that really quickly.
Yeah, I'll jump into this first, right? So for the uninitiated in 1.3.2, in our last patch, we put in the ability for players to be able to craft these Uber unique items of their choice once they reach World Tier 4. And they require Resplendent Sparks to do so. And you get Resplendent Sparks by finding another Uber Unique, which are very rare, salvage them, and then that gives you the one material that you need.
Put Sparks in other content.
You need 5 Resplendent Sparks in order to craft one of these.
Just put Sparks in other content.
In the next patch, where this is going to be, where Gauntlet's going live and the trial system is going live,
we're going
to be reducing that from 5 to 4.
5 to 4.
Now, why did we choose these numbers? So alongside those changes that we made as part of that last release, we also dramatically increased the drop rate of Uber Uniques from non-Duriel sources. So while Duriel gives you a fairly
Genesis
steady drop
twice.
rate chance, still low, obviously. It's hard to find uber unique items in general. They're very rare and very powerful. It was exceptionally rare, as I think most players would understand, to find uber uniques outside of the encounter of Uber Duriel, which is one of the reasons why Uber Duriel is so popular. We did dramatically increase that drop
I would
rate
rather
chance.
them
It's still
just
very,
leave
very
it at
rare,
5
right?
and
So you're not
put
gonna be seeing it all the
sparks in
time,
other
but
content.
we are seeing a dramatic uptick in the number
Like,
of uber uniques.
you have a chance to get a spark doing a tier 100 dungeon at the end of the dungeon. You have a chance to get a spark from a world boss. You have a chance to get sparks from different content.
Just a 20% reduction.
Like, that would be kind of nice.
So we are seeing more of these uber uniques dropping across the board, as I suggested. And this is sort of us beginning to get a sense of how players are interacting with these features as we start looking towards Season 4. So in terms of like the number of uber uniques that are dropping, the way that players are engaging with various parts of the game overall,
just the
to, like,
spark,
farm up
not
these
a,
items.
like just
You know,
giving
we're
us
seeing
a
some
chance
changes
to
in
get a
patterns, which is
spark,
really,
like
really
a 10%
cool.
chance.
We just want to let things evolve a little bit.
You know,
and see how
5 to
things
10%
proceed.
chance
And
at the
as
end of the
we kinda
dungeon
get
to get a
into Season
spark from the
4, we'll be
dungeon
looking at
chest.
making potentially
It would
further
make doing tier
adjustments,
100s
based
worth
upon,
doing.
You know, reception and
Stuff
how
like
these
that.
numbers actually doing. We still want uber uniques to remain in a spot where they are very
It doesn't need to be
aspirational.
4.
They're not
Doesn't,
expected
I mean,
for
it
every
can be
build to
4 or
have
5.
them
It
where
doesn't need to
it's
be
gonna come
3.
online and feel fun.
There just needs to
Obviously,
be more
players
ways to
really
get
want them. You
sparks.
want them for your characters. They're really potent. But they shouldn't be the thing that is enabling you to really do something fun with your class. It's an extra layer on top of your class once you've managed to get one.
Awesome. Question that we have here is, are we getting any endgame content in season? I'm sorry, I was supposed to read the name.
Oh God,
Hey,
here
you
we go
don't
again.
put your names, it doesn't count.
Jucklax asks.
Jucklax?
Jucklax.
Juck.
Joe's like, here we go again, asking
I'm
about
really
this
happy
in
we're
game.
spending all the time on this. Go ahead.
Very important.
Are we getting any endgame content in season 4?
So I'm not allowed to talk about Season 4 today, but I would recommend that you definitely check out the PTR stream when we start talking about a lot of the content players are going to get a chance to test.
Yeah, I
as
feel
part
like
of
they're
that-
gonna put a
that
lot of
PTR
work into
release,
Season 4.
because there is a lot of stuff that's going to be happening, particularly for endgame players.
There we go. There's a question regarding Gauntlet. Wink.
I said it, so that's, you know.
So, congratulations. We have a question from
That guy looks so
Lobosness.
annoyed right now.
That was, why is
He looks like
level
he's ready to throw a
difficulty
chair
only
at
Nightmare
somebody.
70 for the Gauntlet?
Yeah, why only 70?
Yes. So
That's a
we
terrible
wanted to
idea.
make sure that Gauntlet content felt like something players could start trying to dig into immediately upon entering World Tier 4. Why did we do this? We wanted players to be able to like ramp up through the content as they're leveling up through that last World Tier. And we wanted to see how players were going to react to it, basically, as a result of that. Like, do players ever want to try playing through it at 85? Because when you're playing through the Gauntlet, there's
no incentive
there's
structure
these
for
seals
that,
that
though.
I think were discussed during the playthrough. The players can earn based on the point scores they're able to get. If you're crushing those point scores, you're getting rewards for doing that. And it gives you that sense of progression as you go, and you get more and more of your gear online. You find more of the uniques you need. You manage to get like you start getting your 925 items online. Like a lot of your player power can come online as you get your glyphs leveled up and things. It doesn't mean that you need to wait to level at a very high level to be able to go do that content. So we want to make it available, and we also want to focus a little bit more on how quickly players can navigate the space.
That doesn't, why would you do
shrines to
that?
the best effect?
That doesn't make any sense because no one's going to run it at like level 70
We want to
or
focus
60.
more on the strategy element of it.
There's no
rather than
incentive to
the,
do
just
so.
that
There's
much
not like a
had
ladder
much higher
or
hit point
leaderboard
values,
for
you've got
like,
much
hey,
more
you
damage
ran
and
the
stuff.
gauntlet at
We
level
weren't looking
60
to, like,
or 70.
recreate like the AOZ moment, for example, as part of the space. We want this to be a little bit faster, a little bit more approachable for players of different like gear scores.
It's not meant to get gear out of either, so there's really no point. There's no incentive for me to run the
having
leaderboards
like
until
a
I'm
fully
maxed
tricked
out
out
on
build
my
to be
stuff.
still very, very
Or
useful.
close to it.
Because it's just going to allow you to blast a lot faster.
Yeah, and also I'd like just to double down, like the purpose of the Gauntlet isn't
Double down.
It's not meant to be really, really hard to get through at all, where like if you just finish it, that's an accomplishment, right? Like AOZ was more that room, like can you beat it?
Yeah.
And that's not what the Gauntlet is. The Gauntlet is about how quickly can you beat it, how do you optimize, how do you strategize, how do you change your route? It's a different thing that we're testing for players. It's not just about defeating it at all.
It's about the point score.
Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of AOZ, Sparky Quark 7 asks, any AOZ content coming soon?
I just really recommend, again, check out, just
really look at
like,
that stream.
there's a lot of stuff
watch
happening
that
in the
stream.
PTR stream. I just really recommend just get a chance to check out that stream.
So we'll definitely be covering that PTR stream because
gonna
I'm really
answer this
interested in
quickly
Season
'cause
4.
Shark Cohen had asked, is the P and PTR public or private? It is public. So if you
that's
are
nice.
a PC Battle.net user, you'll be able to actually jump into the PTR. We'll have instructions and everything of how to do that once we have the PTR up and we have the stream and everything like that for players. Is PTR free from Midwest Bob? Yes, it is. Is there an NDA? No, there's not an NDA. Can you stream it? Of course you can. So yes, we'll have more information on that again with the PTR.
Yeah,
I know there's a lot of PTR questions.
I just want to make really clear, like it is free as long as you are a person who owns Diablo 4 on Battle.net.
Correct.
Yes,
So
yes,
correct. Yes,
Which we do.
It's if you're already an owner of Diablo 4 on Battle.net. Good clarification. Fonz asks, Adam, will you be able to see a breakdown of individual score relative to the other people in your party in the Gauntlet? Actually, that's a good question.
So you can shame your party members?
And actually,
That's hilarious.
Inspect players, because I haven't done that myself on the build. So
You're gonna shame
right
your
now it's party
teammates.
score. So it's totaling
see
up the
teams,
value of
not
your
the
whole
individual
team.
person.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
There is
And
no I in team or party.
I guess
But
my
there is an M and an E,
question to
man.
that would be
Come
on the
on,
solo leaderboard. Would you be able to actually see someone's build if they have their profile not private or something like that? Can you actually pull up their character?
Yeah, you'll be able to see the skills they have equipped at the time, and you'll be able to see like their key passive. So yeah, you can't look at their whole skill tree, but like you can see a lot of information about them.
Awesome.
Because we don't talk about this, but we actually did make some updates to the profile screen. We made some updates at the same time. They'll be showing up in that release.
Imligit says, will the Gauntlet leaderboard be region locked? No, because everyone's playing technically on a global server.
That's right.
When you do play with your friends in your own region, you just tend to connect to them.
So you will be against everybody.
You tend to connect to people that are playing near you because of obviously latency and stuff like that. So.
That's right.
Does the companion go with you in the Gauntlet? So I think I saw this comment a lot, well, especially when Stephen Leviathan was playing through because he was the charge barb. And so a lot of people thought he didn't have a
That's exactly what I was thinking in my head.
Now,
So no one in America
he most
is about to
definitely
be
was
top
there.
of this
The construct
leaderboard.
was there and was following him and stuff like that. So
It'll be with you inside.
It will be with you inside the Gauntlet. And just so that you guys are aware, Gauntlet is a feature that is not just Season 3.
Yeah.
It is a feature that goes beyond Season 3. This is a part of Diablo 4 going forward.
So generally, your seasonal powers and things will go into the Gauntlet. You'll be able to bring everything to bear that you can.
Yeah, we talked about this quite a bit actually, whether we want that to be the case, and we think it's more fun to allow these things to coexist.
Question from Cody4PF. Why is there minimal mob density in Gauntlet? The barb ran out of density. How am I supposed to play this with my friends? I think players, with Gauntlet is like a different type of like play style. Players will most definitely have. You'll learn the dungeon throughout that week. You'll learn that you can actually take bosses. You don't have to kill that boss right there. You can most definitely bypass it.
They don't
maybe
move
even
fast enough.
Leash it or bring it with you into other rooms.
You might want to save it because you might want the shrine later in a different way.
There are shrines that actually bring back mobs back to life, so you can immediately get an additional score. And so there's a lot of strategy involved with it. So I know a lot of people are going like, hey, there are specific moments where like Steven was like, didn't have anyone to kill there. It's mainly because, you can actually strategize and pull specific things and try to figure out exactly what ends up working really well for your character, your build, or how you want to actually maybe use shrines to benefit exactly who you kill there.
Yeah, we're not looking.
I would understand if like there was a multiplier that stacked as you like killed enemies, or if you killed a certain amount of enemies in a
we're also
certain
trying
amount
to
of
maximize
time.
density in the same way we would in like Nightmare Dungeons or Helltide
But you're
areas.
just going to be blowing through the
players aren't getting
content.
lead
You're going to
drops,
be
they're not getting a lot of
blowing through
experience
enemies
in these creatures.
Tier
So
70.
really the focus is on the player having an idea of like where they can find packs of mobs and where mobs can be found in general in the space, and navigating the environment carefully in order to like maximize their point gain during that time, and then interacting with these other things along the way. Why are you smiling?
It's just, I have a question from someone in here, but they have the most hilarious username.
I look forward to this.
I'm gonna say it, but it's hilarious.
Just go.
Bob Dole's Blue Pills asks,
Very good.
any possibility of getting better cosmetics through gameplay, maybe through gauntlets, skins on par from the shop, etc. This is actually a active conversation that's been happening a lot, especially based off of.
Well, I think you're going to care about the shrines because they're going to reset monsters. They're going to reset the dungeon basically, and some of the shrines give you an increase in your points that you can get. So you're going to have to care about the shrines. Not the normal shrines like channeling or anything like that, but the shrines that give you the resets, the shrines that give you extra points, those things you're going to care about.
That name was just, wow. Al Quadrodia asks...
killing it over there.
I know, amazing. Adam, perfect. Where can we find new vampiric legendary aspects? This is something we mentioned at the beginning of the stream, and if for people that are just kind of tuning in, vampiric powers are coming back into season 3 a
aspects,
little bit,
as
tuned a little
aspects.
bit differently.
Yeah, some of them.
Yeah, so you'll be able to find them the same way you can find any other legendary in the game. They're just going to be random drops everywhere. None of them, just to clarify, they're not going to be in the dungeons like the Codex of Power. None of them are going in there, but you'll be able to find them just like other legendaries.
Oh yeah,
randomly
he's
out in the
super
world.
annoyed, bro.
no
He's
different than
super
anyone
annoyed.
else.
Like I said, he looks like he wants to
Chronic
throw his chair. He looks
TR,
like the
Nightmare
statue
Bolts, were a
in
community
back of him.
favorite and very awesome to run through. Will they come back after season 3?
My man looks as angry
There
as
are
the
a lot of really
statue
good
in back of
learnings
him.
from Nightmare Vaults, and a lot of the content we have in season 3 that's kind of advising things we're doing with Nightmare Dungeons across the board.
Matter of fact,
While
I'm
Nightmare
pretty
Vaults
certain
themselves are not
he's making the
immediately
exact
returning,
same face as the
season
statue.
4, for example. They are also, something we're going to be continuing to look at and think about for future releases.
man's got the
But
angry
we're really glad
face.
that players have found like some value in them and just how exciting they are and how punchy they are on the reward side.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're fun. They're a great disruption to the Nightmare Dungeon loop sometimes too.
Yeah.
Afrojack365 says, do you guys plan on offering an armory to maybe swap builds? And this is something that we've heard a lot over.
We've talked about it before too on stream.
Yeah.
We really like this idea. The systems teams, the UI teams, all like the idea of doing this. There are plans for us to add it somewhere in the future, but we don't have dates to talk about yet. This is something we really like the idea of. We want to make sure that the game is, when we launched the game, we had this idea of like having some sense of like build permanence and things. We thought that was really important. Harkening back to some of the some bits in the past from Diablo 2 and other games. But increasingly as we've been continuing to build the game and receive feedback and play it ourselves, we're finding we really want to be able to embrace a lot more flexibility. You'll see some steps in that direction also in season 4. But this is an example of a thing where it's like, well, we do, in an effort to make sure the players can kind of change the way they want to play more easily, this is a feature we'd like to support. We want to do it the right way.
I think that's probably the
so
biggest thing from
these
this
are things we'll continue to
Campfire
discuss.
chat.
Yeah, and this
just
is
the
on top
announcement of
this
the
and other
PTR for season
feedback
4.
that we've seen from players going like, hey,
That's what I'm
some
looking
social
forward to the
features and
most.
things
I want to
like
get
that.
my
I know
hands on
it's
that
a- it's a
PTR. I want
priority
to try out all the
within
different
team
stuff. I
working
want to
on
see.
things and stuff, and we'll have.
I wonder if they'll
more
have like
information
different
sharing on
class
those-
balances, or they'll have like
those
a
aspects.
set of patch notes to go with the
I'll
PTR.
end on this. This one's a good one for.
I'm sure they will.
Jackson.
They have to have.
Because this specifically talks about the Necromancer
Sure.
and some of the changes that are coming. This is from First Time Cheddar. Why would you guys remove damage from Death's Reach's passive? Is that contrary to the no nerfs policy you had mentioned for mid-season updates? Why didn't you just add speed on top of the damage?
Wow, you want both
Yeah.
of those? Huh?
I would say one, as far as comparing damage to move speed, I think it's a pretty clear winner that move speed is a better stat and has more power than damage in our game. I think when we think about necromancers in general, even across the game in general, we undervalued move speed as far as how strong it is. We knew it was strong and good.
It's not
but we didn't
strong,
realize
bro.
just
It's just
how
fun.
important and almost one-dimensional
movement speed is
If
not
you have the option
strong.
to teleport or move faster, get something
It's just fun
quickly,
to move
That matters
faster.
more than pretty much every other stat once you get to a point where you can kill things quickly, right? So as far as why didn't we just add move speed on top of the damage? Generally, when it comes to our passives, we try to keep our passives simply designed of this is what the passive does, and it's all themed together and makes sense in a specific way. So we try not to have a lot of different effects on a single passive, or even ones that are very disparate that don't really make sense to be together. And I think moving quickly and having damage to distant enemies doesn't you move quickly to close distance, not to stay distant more often than not because you're moving forward through a dungeon. So yeah, that was just a call that we made. It's something we can very easily add damage back to the Necromancer in a more general way too, which we do.
in different ways, but yes.
Yeah, we add damage in a bunch of different places. Damage is very easy to add, whereas move speed not so much. So we thought that the passive slot was a really good way because
I
we
don't know
really
why
wanted
they
just
have
a
such an
generic
issue
passive.
with
The Barbarian, I
movement
believe,
speed,
also
man.
has one now. That just gives you more move speed, so you can just go through the game better.
Yeah.
So we felt like it was just a better choice for the class, and I don't think that too many people are going to miss damage to distant as much because it's way more niche than something that's just generically strong like move speed. And if necromancers need damage, we have a million places we can add them back. I'm not too worried about that.
Awesome. And you had mentioned even necromancers.
It's the Druids is the 9% movement speed you get for 3 skill points that you only get when you're in werewolf form. That's where our movement speed is.
I think
they're
it's
giving
important to
necros
maybe
a
address
flat
the other part,
12%
did we
across the
see
board.
this as kind of going
Barbs
back on
have
our
a flat
promise to nerf,
12%
not nerf
across the
things?
board. Druids, we get 3%, we
so
get 9%.
I think this is why we kind of
for 3
resist the
skill
urge
points
generally
only
in
while in
mid-season
werewolf
patches
form,
to
so.
redesign things completely, because then it's
Yeah,
kind of
that's
a
where our
crapshoot,
movement
like, is
speed
it a
is.
buff, is it a nerf? If it's a redesign, and it could be seen poorly.
And that's as a werewolf.
We just feel like
Okay.
in this case, move speed is such a clear win that we were willing to do that. But we're open to the feedback, and if this is too risky to the players and they don't like that, then we're willing to bend on that. I think that's okay. We just feel like this.
Yeah,
is
but
kind of
even
like
I
a
get most of my
showcase.
mobility from my affixes, like boots
Thank
and
you guys very
amulet.
much for the insight and the info on the mid-season update, and of course Gauntlet. Again, thank you again.
I mean,
to
there really
Microbiome
isn't
and
any,
Anna Clyde for
thank
joining
you
us,
both.
and
Very
our three
good.
devs, John, Steven, and Liam.
Yeah,
for
trample.
jumping in
I
and
mean
playing
trample,
through.
but I'm not going to
Again,
slot trample
Gauntlet
for
is
just
coming out
pure
with
mobility.
133, which is our mid-season
Unless
update.
it's part
That'll
of
be
my
hitting
actual,
next
like,
Tuesday,
dealing damage or
on March
something like
5th,
that,
so
where I
players
need the
will be able to
unstoppable.
actually jump in, check out Gauntlet. We're really looking forward to seeing the feedback for the first couple weeks, and letting us know, like, hey, are there any tweaks and stuff like that we can end up doing? We'll be monitoring that from that end.
Like,
Another
there are
thing that we'll
tons
be
of builds I
monitoring
don't
is
have
the question we
trample
asked
on.
earlier, that Adam had asked.
It takes up
earlier
an
about
entire,
how,
skill
people want to
slot.
see specific updates happen with classes and like.
Yeah,
and
give
that you
give
guys may
sort
have.
give
So, like, by
give
all means, have those
Necro
conversations
movement
on
mobility
various
skill.
community
That's
channels.
fine.
We'll be checking those out.
But
Let
movement
us know what
speed,
you guys
I
actually
just feel
think.
like that's not.
And just a reminder, Diablo 4 is coming to Game Pass. Later this, I almost said later this. It's 2/29. It's a leap year day, by the way. It
seems
not
like
March
it.
yet.
Seems like it's
Bamboozled.
That's where we're at now.
But it's coming later in March. It'll be on March 28th. So players will be able to check it out on Game Pass. Diablo 4 will be the first Blizzard title on Game Pass. We're really excited about that. So patch notes tomorrow. We'll see you guys then.
Blog post.
Blog post. And there's actually a blog post up right after this stream for the Gauntlet. So make sure to check that out for all the information related.
Well, that's that. So, nothing too significant. We got some buffs coming to the classes in terms of for season 3. Buffs coming to the classes. We have vampiric powers that are not going to be aspects, which is a terrible idea. Terrible idea to make vampiric powers aspects. But we'll see what we can do. It's, adds a little bit of build variety here and there. Maybe I can make an actual basic attack build now instead of just proccing my aspects. Gauntlet, you got that, but it's going to be like level 70, super fast builds. That's all you're going to need. But I think the most thing I'm excited for is the PTR. PTR should be pretty good. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about that? Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot of new stuff, but we did get some little bits of information. I'm just more excited about that PTR and the Campfire chat for the PTR. So that's what I will be looking forward to. Yeah, I mean, I didn't. You know what? I'm more underwhelmed by the aspects, man. Like, that's probably I was super happy about the snapshot fixing, the changing. You can't change your gear. All that's really good. But man, like, why aspects? Like, who made that choice? Like, who made that choice about the aspects? Because that's a terrible idea. I'll look at them though, but I'll see what there is in terms of like what it would offer a build. I do like the Accursed Touch because it gives vulnerability, so that's kind of nice. It's going to be like a free vulnerability, which is probably going to make it really powerful. So I'll be looking forward to the Accursed Touch one. You can probably use that on a lot of different builds that don't have access to vulnerability. And then Moonrise, I would rather have Ravenous. I think Ravenous was much better for a basic attack build. That massive amount of attack speed was so much easier to use. But we'll see what happens. Maybe you can slot that in on an amulet. It'll be powerful. I don't know. I didn't really see I know they had Blood Boil or so I think what was that one? I think Blood Boil was the one that gave you an overpower like a timed overpower. So maybe that'll be useful for some builds. I don't know. I don't know. But I definitely can't wait to see what they have on that PTR. It sounds like they've done a lot of stuff in the PTR. It almost sounds like they're just kind of like holding over until the season 4. Like season 3, they're like, get the gauntlet out, make sure that people have that, because Lord knows they would have gotten it pretty good if they hadn't gotten the gauntlet out. So we got the gauntlet coming. That'll be interesting to see what happens there. I just wish it was. I just feel like because of the way it's designed, like who's gonna push gauntlet? Who's gonna push gauntlet all week long? You're gonna wait till the last day. You might strategize, do something like that, but you're not gonna have to strategize for too much time. And then you'll just go crazy on the last day. It'll be like people constantly changing place. Then you'll find out exactly how many points people can get. Kind of interested to see what that's going to look like. I was hoping they would talk about the game mode. I thought they had a game mode, a different game mode like Trials or something like that. I remember reading something about that. And no nerfs, so you're still going to be doing a ton of damage. Lots and lots of damage. Which we already do lots of damage, so. Your Whirlwind Barb is going to be blowing through stuff now, even more so than before. I wonder if that'll be the best Barb build. I don't know. Probably not. Probably still going to be Charge. I don't know how fast you can move in your Whirlwind. I haven't played Barb. Can you get max movement speed in your Whirlwind? Because if you can, you're probably going to be killing stuff pretty fast at tier 70 that maybe you can run a Whirlwind setup. Did I do all the... Yeah, I did. Okay. What do I need to do? I got to finish the quest line. Go down here to the area that tries to kill you for no reason. I don't think it's going to be whoever plays... Well, I mean, whoever plays the most is probably going to have a better understanding of a pathway through the area. But I don't think that's going to be necessarily the deciding factor in Gauntlets. It's going to be the person who has the most efficient pathway through the dungeon. Just because killing things is going to be super easy. So everything is going to die really fast. For most, for even non-meta builds, like I have plenty of non-meta builds and I'm just going to burn through stuff. I feel like my shred build is going to pretty much destroy everything and I won't have, especially because I have a Shaco. Like having the Shaco on that with probably Metamorphosis, I might go ahead and pick Metamorphosis up and take Juggernaut off because you don't need so much armor. Like, you don't even need all the armor for tier 70. So you're going to be able to run, like, Mad Wolves. You're going to be able to run all kinds of stuff. You might not even need to have Tebow's Will, to be honest, but we'll see. Most people are going to run that anyway just because of the amount of damage you get. And there really isn't any better pants than that. Doesn't, so you're still moving at the same speed no matter what? No, that's kind of lame. No, I mean, like, can you get the speed of it, though? Can you get your movement speed up while you're casting Whirlwind? Like, can you make it move really fast? Yeah, that's big. Yeah, you're not going to be able to do that. But I'm saying you don't really have to play it non-stop. You could find the best pathway through the dungeon, and then the last day, you could you know, strategize on what the best path for you would be. I would even go as far as to say you would want to basically find the best pathway, run it a bunch of times, but quit out before the timer ends, so that way your score doesn't count, if you can do that. And then you just run that on the very last day, probably within like the last few hours. I wouldn't even say people would need to blast it all day long. I would say it would probably be better just to hold off until like maybe a few hours after, right before reset, and then probably blast it then. Just because you can get so many runs in. It's 8 minutes. Like, all you need is 8 minutes. You could probably get a solid amount of, even be able to adjust in real time, as long as you've actually taken everything that you can into consideration. Yeah, as long as your movement, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like this, if Whirlwind is moving at max movement speed, you might be able to get away with running a Whirlwind build through there pretty easily, just because you'll be killing stuff all the way through. And you won't have to have that brief moment where your like charge stops you from moving, so you can recast it or have to wait. I honestly don't think charge is going to be the best barbarian setup. I don't think it will be. I think there's going to be something different that will be, I guess, faster at killing things, grouping and killing. Like, if you could vacuum things with Whirlwind, I know there's that. You can vacuum enemies with Whirlwind, and then, you know, pull everything towards you, kill it all, keep moving as you go. I think that's what's going to probably be the best build. Something like that. Something that pulls stuff towards you so you don't have to go after it. Clump stuff up so you don't have to chase it down. I know they want to showcase the charge, but I don't think it's going to be the best one. I just think movement speed shouldn't be gated. I really can't stand this like anti-movement speed. Just give people movement speed. It shouldn't be hard to reach max movement speed. Honestly, there's no reason for it. There really isn't any reason for it. You're not outrunning monsters, barely at all. Like, most of these guys are moving super fast. I would just like to have an easy capped movement speed, and that would make me happy. I should never be at level 59. I should never be moving this slow. Like, I shouldn't need to have, you know, movement speed on my amulet and boots to barely get around a dungeon. I shouldn't need to slot in like trample or something like that. It should be pretty easy to move around. I get it. I got another one of these. I don't like the way he was phrasing the movement speed. Like, movement speed is strong. Like, it's like movement speed is strong. It almost makes me feel like that's like just that way of thinking is what's keeping movement speed off the table for a lot of builds. Like, movement speed is strong. Okay, but is it strong, or is it just convenient and fun to have? Like, if it's so strong, then maybe you shouldn't give classes like a ton of it, or maybe you shouldn't give so many mobility skills. If movement speed is the king of the, you know, the king stat, then I don't know. Like, I don't know that, like, that way of thinking where movement speed is considered like strong. It doesn't buff your damage in any way. It just makes it where you can get to the next pack of enemies. Like, it just makes it where you can finish a dungeon faster or get from point A to point B. It doesn't do anything. It wasn't like with Ravenous, where movement speed actually buffed your attack speed, which I thought was actually pretty cool. I thought that was a nice little design there, but it's not like that. It's just movement speed. It doesn't like give your character anything special other than, you know, makes the game more fun. it's kind of disappointing, like, to hear that, in my opinion. Like, movement speed is strong. We don't want to give, you know, we found out that, you know, movement speed is far better than damage. We can give you damage everywhere, but we can't just give you movement speed. It's like, what are you smoking, bro? Yes, you can. You can give movement speed just as easy as you can give damage. I mean, you could give it to us directly. I mean, like I always say, you could give it to us through our leveling process. We could be able to level up and get a 0.5% movement speed for every level. And then at level 100, we're moving at 150% movement speed. And then you don't have to invest so heavily in movement speed on your builds. Like, 3 skill points is a lot of skill points to give for movement speed. There are probably going to be plenty of Necros who completely bypass those 3 points in favor of something different. Especially if you have, like, things that will, like, different aspects that might come out or different items that might come out that actually do give you a solid amount of mobility. I just don't think 3 points, like, even in my, like, this silly thing here, I have no idea who does. I'll go to this real fast. This weirdly designed movement speed passive that Druid has that makes no sense at all. Let's go over here real quick, just in case anybody doesn't know already. 3% movement speed, 3 points gets you 9%, and it's only while you're in werewolf form. It's like, what is that? Like, why? Why does that exist? Come on, do your thing, guy. Yeah, exactly, Kel. I mean, there's just not going to be, like, 3 skill points is a lot of skill points for movement speed. And 12%? Like, 12%? Come on now. I feel like those should be minimum 20% for three skill points. Minimum. Like, we're starting 20% as the floor there. 3 skill points is a lot of skill points when you only have, you know, the amount that we do. So, and then we're gonna have our Seneschal construct as well. I thought it was funny that they nerfed some of the things with the Seneschal construct, even though, like, you kill things so fast that it doesn't even matter that the Seneschal can be completely broken because you're not gonna use it. Like, it's not gonna catch up to you. I also can't stand, like, this adding movement speed to companions through outside sources instead of just buffing companion movement speed directly. I mean, it just kills me. Like, why can you not understand that your companion should just keep up with you? Like, your companion shouldn't need movement speed. They really shouldn't. Your minions, your companions, they really shouldn't need movement speed. They should always keep up with you 100% of the time, no matter what. Unless they're CC'd by something. But as soon as they get out of CC, it should be automatically that they are right beside you. And then the change to the Storm Companion pants I thought was hilarious. Because the wolves never cast that lightning bolt before you kill stuff. Like, I've never seen that be effective in any way, shape, or form. And I built a companion build this season that used Storm Companion pants. And they give you companion movement speed, and your companions still don't even keep up with you. Like, they lag behind with the companion movement speed. You still have to wait for them to catch up. So I'm not exactly sure what they're thinking there. I'm not really sure what the plan is there with companions, but I am excited to see the buffs, which will probably just be flat damage buffs to your companions, which, honestly, I don't know. I feel like the way werewolves function and the amount of enemies in the dungeon, you need more werewolves, or your wolves, you need more wolves, not more wolf damage. You need, like, at least 5 or 10 more wolves. You need to come in here with a whole pack of wolves because there's so many enemies. Like, 3 wolves that, you know, barely do any damage. And then, but that's what they're going to focus on. So we'll see what they actually do with the wolves. I don't think it's going to make companion builds any more viable in terms of where they sit in the meta. But, like I said, I already built a companion build. I killed Uber Lilith with it. I did a tier 100 vault with it. So it's not like they're not usable. It's just they're not really, doing anything special there. I just feel like they need to rework companions altogether. Like, your wolves need to be able to do things. Like, your active wolf skill should not be a leap to attack an enemy. It needs to be something different. Like I said, while I was playing Last Epoch, like the wolves in Last Epoch, your active skill, it gives you attack speed. It gives your wolves buff you. Like, they give you attack speed. They give you health back. It's like this really nice kind of ability, and they do decent damage. It needs to be something like that. Your wolves should automatically be decent enough that you don't have to make them go attack stuff. And then Poison Creeper, like, Poison just doesn't scale good into the end game. So you're still going to use Subterranean on Poison Creeper to get any kind of damage out of it. But we'll see. I don't want to make any snap decisions before I see the patch notes tomorrow. Ravens is, like, just the worst skill ever. It gives you crit, though. So that's nice. It's a nice source of crit. So, but look at that. Look at the AoE on this. Like, why is the AoE so small? So if it was the size of your creeper, it would synergize well. So then you could creeper, cast ravens, and then you have these big pack of enemies sitting inside of your poison creeper that are immobilized, getting hit by your ravens. And then they would just buff the damage of it, and we'd be good to go. But it's so small. Like, how many enemies does this hit? It doesn't hit very many. So I don't necessarily understand exactly the point of buffing ravens without actually fixing how the skill functions. Like, massively fixing the skill. Because I would love to make a really solid... I feel like I made a solid companion build, but I would love to make a companion build that was at least comparable to, like, maybe a A-tier build or something like that. But, I don't know. You running those Storm Companion pants too? It means you can't use Tebow's Will. That means you don't get the damage reduction. I mean, the damage reduction is huge. You're going to die so fast. The passive being Bestial Rampage. Like, you need to use Bestial Rampage to really get the most out of your companions. And it just makes it, really difficult to be tanky enough to do like a tier 100. And then I know they said they're buffing the basic skills, so I'm interested to see how they're going to buff them. I wonder if they're going to buff up Storm Strike and Claw, or they're going to leave those and just buff Wind Shear like what was in the video, but I don't think they will. I think they're going to buff up more than just Wind Shear. I still don't think it'll make it where basic skills scale well enough that you can build a Stormclaw setup with just basic skills. Like, I still think my setup with Overcharged and Rune Workers is going to be better than basic skills, but I'll test it out. I'll test it out and see. I did make this funny setup kettle, that one that I was talking about with Earth Spike. It looks really cool, but it's absolutely terrible in terms of damage. And I have like Infinite Cataclysm on there too, which I think is really funny. Just having Infinite Cataclysm, running that all the time and realizing just how obnoxiously bad that skill is. I use Cataclysm on the training dummy, like a tier 100, not tier 100, but level 100 boss training dummy. And it barely hit the thing. Like, the tornadoes don't hit enemies, the lightning bolts barely go off. But it does have a high lucky hit chance, 90% when I had it, when I was looking at it with all my buffs. So I might try it out with my actual Stormfall setup. It looks cool though, bro. It's got like these Earths. I'll show it to you after I finish this quest. I just have to finish this real quick and I'll show you what I was doing. I'm going to swap it all back, of course, but I thought it was kind of funny. It dies immediately. It doesn't do any damage, but it looks cool. It looks intimidating. Man, I cannot wait to get to the higher tiers and get all of my items back. Well, maybe it'll be, you know, that's the thing. It's like the problem is, Joe, is that they made it where the aspects, I mean, the vampiric powers are aspects. So we are already kind of, you know, short on aspect slots, it feels like sometimes. Especially because most people use two-handers. And, you know, so you're going to have to give up whatever, you know, some kind of aspect somewhere to even use whatever build you have planned. So, like, even in this build, this landslide build I have, the shred landslide, there's no way I can give up any of these aspects. Like, I have to have every single one of them. And they just make the build work really well. I don't think giving up one of these aspects would be a good idea that I run on it. I wish they had to put it in something that we didn't need, like what was referenced earlier, a gym, something like that. Maybe they'll get feedback on that. Maybe someone will give them an idea. Because making it an aspect was a terrible idea. Maybe they didn't lay off the right people. Because that person doesn't know what they're doing. That was a good idea, though. The gym idea, to put it in the gym. I feel like that's such a good idea. Which one am I missing? The top one. I made it through. We get it, bro. I thought it was that little recap though at the beginning was kind of funny too. Like all the things that they had in the recap and emphasizing the traps and stuff and all of that, and it's all just pointless now. Like none of that matters. We don't even care. I always said it, like I said at the beginning of the season, I feel like they could leave this entire season in the game. It doesn't really feel like it's that transformative that they would need to take it out. Like having vaults is really nice. Having an extra little pet there to kind of do stuff is cool too. Farming the Seneschal stones and having some kind of mini buff. That'll be nice when they, you know, if they do bring something like that back in season 4, which I imagine there wouldn't be anything you could bring back from this season that wouldn't be the pet or, I mean, obviously Malphus. But what would Malphus do without the tuning stones? You know what I'm saying? Like, what would you do? Just throw more uniques or uber uniques in there? I don't know. It would be nice if they brought the pet back with some kind of usefulness, pick up items, things like that. Like give you mini buffs or something. And then, like a companion almost. Yeah, more aspects, bro. No more aspects. Oh my god, the aspects. But honestly, in my opinion, I think the biggest thing really when they were thinking about that PTR, bro. I think they were thinking about that PTR, and that PTR was the big one. I don't have any kind of regen right now. There we go. Give me regen, pet. That PTR is going to be the biggest part. I think everybody won't even care if that PTR like is as significant as what they say it is. Almost felt they just should have bypassed everything else. Be like, hey, we're going to bring some buffs here. We're going to do this, but let's talk about the PTR. Like, that's really all people are going to care about. Like, the wallets are going to be cool, fine, whatever. But I'm very interested in playing that PTR. I wonder when we're going to get it and how long we're going to have access to it. That's what I want to know. Yeah, exactly, Kettle. Just implement it in a way like Gyms is perfect, bro. Like, that was such a good idea about the vampiric powers being a gym. That was a really good idea. Make them a gym, make them something you can actually just use like that, because trading in like even this inexorable will, like it's such a niche item. I don't even want to use it. The affixes on it aren't really that great anyway. Ultimate skill cooldown reduction is it's still not good enough to warrant it. I can just get flicker step and just flicker step through enemies and cool down my ultimate skill much faster if I needed to. But yeah, I mean, like it's okay, but you know, most builds don't even use it. Most builds aren't going to use it. Although I do use it on my Stormclaw build, but that's just because I have no need for anything else in dungeons. And it's the only way to really make the Stormclaw build function super good. For the Uberstone, I would always just replace Safeguard and replace for the Genesis, replace Safeguard. For Evernight, I replace what is it? I think it's down in the description of the Mobalytics build. In the build summary, it always tells you exactly what you should replace. You just have to scroll down to the first page of the build, and I always have that written out. None of my builds have Uber uniques. None of my builds have unique tuning stones on them. I make them strictly because I want people to be able to use them without that first. But there's always down at the very bottom in the summary, like written out explanation of what to replace with the build. And like, for instance, I think I'll actually be able to use Metamorphosis on that build. I just don't know where I would put it yet. So I'll have to wait and see and actually look it over. But I honestly don't think there's much room to replace things. Let me log to my softcore real quick. I'll show you guys my this funky Stormclaw setup that I transformed my Stormclaw build into. It's kind of funny. Yeah, so I agree that the ring does have a decent pull. It does decent damage. I just think that it doesn't match up with a lot of builds. That's my concern, is that it's kind of, you know, it doesn't match up well. So there's a lot of builds that don't use the ring at all. And I would rather like stuff come into the game that you can get that constantly buffs up your character in some meaningful way. It doesn't have to be massively. It just has to add something to your character. I'll show you this real quick, and then I'll swap to my Dire Wolf. Because I think my Dire Wolf is actually going to be perfectly... Like, the damage doesn't need to be there, and if I can get the... if I can get Metamorphosis on the build, I'll have constant Unstoppable. So my hope was that the basic skills would actually function really well. So you'll see here I pumped up all of my basic... Well, I originally did. I had pumped all of these up, so I took points out of all these skills. What did I do with these points? Oh, I have them in my... Alright, I just want to show you guys why because I get this question a lot. Like, why did you take all the points out of your basic attacks? Why did you do this on your build? And I don't think I do that. So I have basically a max adaptability here. And then I have maxed out Pangor gauntlets. Okay, I have 5 points in all of my basic attacks. Okay, 5 points, and I picked up 5 points in Earth Spike. And I went ahead and adjusted my board real quick, and I picked up the basic seal damage here. Now, I did take out these glyphs because I was leveling these glyphs to go ahead and give it a shot, but that really is not going to make game-changing amounts of damage. But I thought this was really fun to look at just because of the Earth Spike, the way it functions. With this, you can shoot the Earth... Wait, hold on, let me equip the... I didn't have the ring on. There we go. Okay, so that should be right. Yeah. So you shoot Earth Spike out with your... And that's not me doing damage. That's Poison Bob. So it's basically all 3 basic attacks, and you're constantly casting your Earth Spike. But look at the damage. And I mean, I am in a party, but it's just so bad. And that's with 5 in every skill. That's with a whole nother basic attack, with adaptability at max, with Pangors. Granted, I could get more damage, but automatically I already know that's not going to work that well. Now, if I swap that out, and mind you, I've taken off glyphs, so I don't even have electrocution on, and that's one of the biggest glyphs for this build.
Well done.
And I just go ahead and take this adaptability off, and I slot in the overcharge, and then I go ahead and I just hit the dummy, and I'm basically gonna get, look, I mean, the damage is better, and it's even, when I hit a barrier, it's gonna get even, and that's without the electrocution glyph. That's without all the things that make the damage even better than that. And that's without taking the points. I didn't even take the points out. I have all the points here. And it's just how the damage is scaling off of basic attacks. Like, it's just not good. It's not good at all. I could take all these points out and basically do the same amount of damage. Like, the damage is very, very similar. Look at that. It's almost exactly the same without 12 points into the basic attacks. That's how bad basic attacks scale. It's almost exactly the same. Like, there's nothing really different. And that's why I don't run all these points. Like, I feel like they're a waste. I feel like they don't do anything. And then if I just swap out my glyphs real quick. Where's the takeout guzzler? What is this? And then I'll slot in electrocution here, and I'll pop off these because I don't really need them. And then 2 more. And then what was the other one I took out? Not Spirit, not Territorial. I took out one other. Oh, Werewolf. Let's take out Werewolf. Slot in Keeper. No, was it Keeper? I think it was Keeper. I think I did slot in Keeper. I picked up Int. Yep, and then over here I slotted in Fulminate, I believe. Take out Exploit, slot in Fulminate. And then just doing those, and I have to set everything else up, but like when you start getting the aspects to proc, you're getting way more damage off of it. And then you add a barrier into it. I can even try my Lightning Storm with it just to get more procs off. And it's still not good, don't get me wrong, it's still not good, but I mean, look with Lightning Storm, you get those extra lightning bolts, gets those extra procs on your overcharge. It's not the best, but it works. It works. And then if I go into a dungeon, I can take off Rune Worker. and I can slot in my inexorable will and just pull everything and pop my ulti constantly. Let me see. We can run a dungeon real quick. I'll show you. I just have to get my stuff set back up. Give me just a second. Let me take a point out. Why is it not letting me take I don't know. We'll go ahead and set things up the way I had them. That. I think I went 5 into debilitating roar. And then take that out, put that in. Did I even go innate? Innate will work. I think preserving would probably be. And then we'll try Cataclysm. I usually don't run Cataclysm. I usually run Petrify. And then I had... What did I have after that? Oh, yeah. I had these 3. So, I took something out. I think I did this. And I think maybe... I don't know. My points are stuck there. So that's probably what it is. There, and then we'll go ahead and put that back. We'll go innate. Why not? Why not have just a little extra damage? Alright, we'll run like a... I usually use Petrify, but I did want to try this out. I think I still need to adjust my Paragon board back to the way it was. Because I have 2 points that I have no idea where I took them from. We'll just throw them into something. I think I came up here. I don't really need this. And man, I don't even know what I took these from. I am not sure. I'll have to check my boards. So we'll do like a tier 100 real quick. Why not a Vault of Copper? And I actually like running these in the... I like running this build with the team because it feels really good. It just takes me a second to get used to it again. And because you're flicker stepping, you constantly cool down your ultimate and you do so much damage. So you pop your ultimate, you just pop your debilitating roar, constantly cool it down. You're basically just spamming dodge like crazy through enemies. And you shouldn't really, you know, use your ultimate until you have your debilitating roar back up, but then again, I usually have Petrify, so I don't have to worry too much about enemies. Yeah, I still think Petrify is way better, man. Petrify is so good. The cooldown is lower. You get that big boost to your damage. And then you just pull everything together like that. I'm actually going to try this out in Gauntlet. I think it might work really well. Especially everything being at 70, yo. Like, I'm going to burn through things. I won't even need to use debilitating roar. I can just use Blood Howl. And obviously you can make this even better by just adjusting your spirit boons to increase the duration of your ultimate or something like that. But I think this would be a lot of fun to run this build in teams, just because I feel like I could pull things constantly. Especially because it's going to be much easier to keep up with people, given the fact that I don't need to have a real tanky chess piece. I can just run Mad Wolves, getting the pulls off constantly. It's going to be really useful.
I'm not ready
And this is a tier 100 with a, yeah, this is a tier 100 with a person. So you see the damage there. I know people were like, were hating on Stormclaw, but I feel like I made a pretty decent Stormclaw setup for this season. Definitely would not recommend using Bestial Rampage, though. I'd rather just run an attack speed boost elixir or something like that. And just really helps kind of pull everything together for your team. I think we were playing this in a 4-man one night with a bunch of everybody in the party was running Lightning Storm except for me. And we just melted through everything. It was really fun. Oh. I'll pick you up. Sorry, my son came home in a mood. He was hollering out the way. You might hear him in the background. I might swap out to my single target real quick, bro, just to speed this up. Give me just a second. Oh, sorry, I'm pulling enemies. Don't die over there, okay? Let me grab my, that, and... Oh, Jesus. I ran into that. That was my bad. I'm gonna come back. I just need to swap one more thing. Go ahead and take off this, There we go. This should speed it up a little bit. But we're pretty tanky. We can tank up a Malphus hit or two. And I think if I had Ravens on here too with Blood Howl, it would be better. I just want to make all those changes. And just having that debilitating roar too really helps. Any day now. 5 hours later. We're really getting him. He's gonna die anytime now. Slowly but surely. The paper cuts, 1,000 paper cuts of death is what we're doing here. You're slashing him, I'm slashing him, he's getting slashed up. We're hitting his ankles, working our way up the shins, into the kneecaps. Slowly but surely just dissecting him from bottom to top. I think we're like close to the elbows right now. This man has so much health. It's so hilarious how much health this boss has. You can tell they wanted you to run this in a group content, like... Bang, 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 bang. Ah, we did it. Oh, we took him down. He never stood a chance. And look at all that loot. All that massive loot from that really tanky boss. Alright, let me swap back. Swap that stuff back real quick. And then I'll swap over to my Dire Shred build. No, we're going to keep that there. Oh yeah, we're good. Never mind. But I don't really run tier 100s with that in a team. That one's a little bit harder to run tier 100s just because it's not as tanky as the normal shred setups. Oh, I cyclone. There we go. Pretty smooth. Nothing too crazy there. And you can see all my glyphs are like level 15, level 16. So the build's not even min-maxed. I could get a ton more damage out of it, but I do that with all my builds. I don't min-max my builds. I just make the build videos, and that way people can see what it looks like. So for after the Campfire Chat Sky, I am thinking the PTR, amazing. I cannot wait. Everything else, kind of lame-ish. You know, it's good that they're fixing the snapshotting for doing the leaderboards. But tier 70 is going to make leaderboards just like really, really about speed, and it didn't seem like strategy was going to be that much of a point other than just finding the most efficient pathway through the dungeon. I hated the fact that the vampiric powers are going to be aspects. I thought that was a terrible waste of vampiric powers. They should have been something like... They should have been something like a gem, someone suggested. I thought that was a good idea. Something that you could just equip without having to give up an aspect slot. But they decided aspects would be the case. I like the fact that there are going to be no nerfs and some buffs to a lot of things that are being underused until Season 4. But I think the biggest takeaway for me is just the PTR. The PTR sounds really good. Sounds like it's going to be very useful. It's going to be nice to get our hands on that brand new content for Season 4, getting to see what changes they've made, being able to give feedback to them so that way they can make it better before Season 4 launches. I think it's going to be really important because there's so much like weighing on Season 4, that they're going to need all the help they can get. So I'm very excited about the PTR. And, you know, gauntlets are cool. But overall, a bit mid in my opinion. Like, I feel like it lacked a little punch, but hopefully we'll get that from the PTR. Yeah, we did not need more. We really didn't need more. We needed something to just add to our character, not have to take away to bring, you know, it's just kind of silly. I don't like that, but it is what it is. Let me repair this stuff. Okay, brother, I'm gonna hop onto my dire shred real quick, and then I'll. Now this, like I said, I would not recommend running this in a party. It was simply a throw off build. I never made a shred build. I wanted to make something different than the current meta. I'll join a party though, but we can do like a tier 70. But it was just something I wanted to play around with. I wanted to make a complete werewolf shred build, nothing that you needed to use a werebear for. So that's why I made it the way I did. But given the fact that it is a tier 70 dungeon, and the fact that I have a Shaco that I can put on the build to get extra ranks to my shred, I actually think I will be able to run this build pretty effectively inside of the gauntlet. Pretty effectively without worrying about dying. And I can probably take off the inexorable will ring because I don't really think you need to pull things, although it could be a good idea too. But it might mess up your pattern, like, as you go through the dungeons and stuff. And it's probably not the best to use on your direwolf build, just because, unfortunately, you're just not able to reset your direwolf inside of your ultimate. I think that's probably one of the lamest things about the overall build. There we go. I don't need Starless Skies. I have tons of regen. I don't need any extra. I'd just rather have something that gives me... What do I have on here? Crit strikes. Yeah, that's what I want. Flicker Step and T-Bows. I think if I can get Metamorphosis on here, that'll make T-Bows will better. Just because, again, you can't reset your ultimate while in the ultimate form, which, again, is a terrible design. And then I think I was just running between Tempest Roar and Godslayer. So you can equip Godslayer. And, yeah, I was trying out Fist of Fate too. So just to see how Fist of Fate worked. We'll do like a lower tier. Did you hop onto a different character? Let me see. I'll have to craft a sigil. I just want to see what the damage looks like without a Harlequin Crest inside of a tier 70. Let me teleport to a different area. Just go over to Kyovashad. Craft up a tier 70. And I can move at max movement speed, so that's the big part about the build. It's like you're moving, even though you use Shred for most of your mobility, just being able to move at max movement speed while when you don't have a target for Shred is really nice. So let's make a tier 70 sigil. So we got a 73. That's pretty close. Ugh, Stormwrath, whatever. We're going to use it. I think my armor should be somewhat appropriate. I think it might be a little too low, to be honest, for a 70, but we'll give it a shot. It's been a minute since I've been on this build, so... Where are we going? I think having the Shaco on here is going to make it even better, just because of the extra damage reduction. And then I'll put Might get an armor roll here or there. So you can move really fast. So like I'm zooming. And you have Gibbous, so you can kind of just kill stuff. Yeah, see, so that's pretty decent. Like you're just... But I might go ahead and use Eridus. And you can reset your ulti pretty quick. Obviously, it should be reset before you even get to that point. And obviously, nothing in there will be this tanky. Everything in there will be basically one shot. And you won't have to worry about this. Plus, I'm in a party. There's so many things that you can not have to worry about if you're going solo. But if I can get Moonrise, if I can get Metamorphosis on here and just have the constant unstoppable, so I never get the drop off from my Tebow's Will, it'll be really good. But then I could also just use a basic axe too, instead of the Gibbous. I only use the Gibbous to kind of stick with the theme of the build. To have like infinite crit all the time crit. But you have to spam your dodge just to keep your Direwolf off cooldown. But you could also just run the Inexorable Will with it if you wanted to. Just to bring everything together. I'll have to take the Shaco off of my Lightning Storm build. And see if I like it. So if I use this, this would be very kind of useless in a way because you can't reset your ultimate inside of the ultimate skill. I wish you could reset it. That would be a really nice feature if they made it where you could reset your ultimate while you're in your dire form. Did I actually put the ring on? I don't think I did. Yeah, I don't even need a lot of armor, man. You're gonna be able to go full glass cannon. I don't even need the armor. You know, the only thing I think about Shred that might not be the best is just the fact that it's limited by the amount of enemies you can hit. I don't know if it'll be the best. I honestly don't. It moves fast, but you're kind of limited on the amount of enemies you can hit at any given time. You might be able to buff that up, but I feel like a good Pulverize, I feel like Pulverize might be really good. Anything that can kill like a lot of enemies quickly without having to go back and forth between stuff. I think Pulverize would be pretty good. Yeah, Rogue's getting a buff, so Rogue's getting quite a few buffs. Rogue's getting quite a few buffs. And now we have some tier 70 sigil. Let me drop the sigil off in the chest. I'm going to swap around to a different character real quick. What did I just break? Let me put the sigil in the chest real quick. Put that there. Let me get out of the party. I'll come right back. Because honestly, I don't think it's going to be... I think I can go faster on my Stormclaw setup. And I think I can go faster on my Shred Landslide setup. I just feel like Shred is a bit single targety. Let me just go ahead and equip that, if that's a word. It's not even single targety. And then that. Godslayer. Okay. Let me toss this stuff back in the chest. I'm not even going to pick up any items. I'm just going to keep... We're going to do another 70. We're just... yeah, definitely. Aware NATO? Yeah, I was thinking about making a hardcore Aware NATO build. I actually was. Because I think Aware NATO would be insanely good. Just throw your tornadoes, you just keep moving in Direwolf. Honestly, was thinking that would be the best build overall. I just feel like this needs more movement speed, unfortunately. But I can pull everything. And that makes it easy. Yeah, but I definitely think Where NATO would probably be right up there, man. I feel like you can just cast... You can just go in Direwolf, move super fast, cast your tornadoes as you move through packs of enemies, and you're just gonna burn stuff down. And the fact that you just keep moving, that's the biggest part about it. You just keep moving. So I might actually use Trample on this setup. That pull is just so crazy, how far you pull enemies from. Stuff from here and there. But then it's like you still are slow. I don't like how slow this is. I miss having that extra movement slot for Ghostwalker. I don't feel like you can have that. I don't feel like you can get the Ghostwalker on here effectively. Well, I might be able to. Maybe I'd replace it on my helmet. Instead of using Godslayer, you just use a Ghostwalker aspect. And then you'll have that max movement speed, but I don't know if I would actually get any benefit from it because the kills is what you need. I think I would prefer... I'll try out my other build. I just love the fact that you can pull everything. I don't know how tanky these enemies are going to be. because this is a 73, so we're talking 3 more levels lower than this. So like all of your defensive passives on your amulets, everything that you might have defensive wise, swap that to something that gives you damage. And just go full glass cannon, because nothing is going to kill you. Even in hardcore, you could probably just go full glass cannon and not even worry about it. All right. Let's do... Let me swap over to my other build. Let me try... And this build can use a Shaco too. So this can use a Shaco as well. I feel like this is probably going to be the build I use. Mostly. Unless I figure something else out. But I think Aware NATO would be really good. Use one of those tier 70s you got, bro. Yeah, but I feel like Sork is just gonna blast stuff, man. I feel like Sork is gonna have the highest points. You have like a 4-man Sork group is just gonna be waiting for respawns the whole time. Oh, you got a perfect 70. Nice. I'm frozen. Yeah, especially if I put a, a little more movement speed on here, and just sacrifice tankiness for movement speed. What can I put on my boots? I could probably take off a few things. Yeah, he got the little bomber. Not fully leveled though. We'll see what happens. We will see. It would be nice, I think, to have someone to group enemies, though, on any given team. Like if you run in a group of people. Having someone to group everything for your whole group of people. That way you don't have to worry about going after monsters. But you probably won't even have to be honest. Did you not get up? There we go. Oh, where's the key at? Did you... Okay, I was like, what happened to the key? We will definitely have to test some different stuff out. See what we would do in a group. I think that's the big one. I want to do some group runs. But again, I still feel like you're going to have a bunch of sorcerers that are just blowing through everything. My only issue with landslide is enemies in the air. Like, enemies in the air seem to not take, seems to be some off, like, hitbox or something with landslide, where enemies in the air don't quite get hit with as much damage as what they should. Alright, we can run some other stuff. I don't want to do too much playing around in here. Wait till we actually get to try out the gauntlet. See what works and what doesn't. The rogue. It might just maybe try a different build with the rogue. See, a lot of people enjoy the rogue. It just might not match your playstyle either. I don't care about any of these gear. We could go faster, though. I want to put a Shaco on this real quick. Let me do that real fast. Give me just a second. I gotta put the Shaco off my Lightning Storm character onto this character. I have no socketing stuff. I still have to get stuff to socket my gear pieces. Haven't done a single world boss or Legion event forever on softcore. You know what? I kind of want to try out this. I'll toss around the Shaco a little bit. See which character I like it on later. I'll do like some testing off stream. All right. And it'll let me know how much armor I actually need for this build, because I need quite a bit. All right, let's do another 70 real quick. I want to see how this feels. I think this one will be much more in line with how the actual dungeon, the gauntlet will feel, just because you don't have to break a giant pyramid in the center of the deal. Well, like I said, they're buffing it up, so. So it shouldn't feel so weak once they buff it up. Hey, buddy. I think my son is ready to create some havoc in here. After this one, I'm gonna get off here, take a break for a second, and then I will be back on in like an hour or so to do some. I think I'm gonna crank up the old Hell Divers. I'm gonna crank that up just to play it a little bit. He's in here. Yeah, he's fine. He's just throwing stuff around. Yeah, so I'm usually pretty decent at third-person shooters, so I'm kind of excited to try it out. I just want to try something a little bit different today. And then I've been meaning to do my last Epoch stream too. I was gonna do it yesterday, but I got so tired. What are you tossing around, my man? Is it your little Spider-Man? I like this because you kill things immediately. I feel like at tier 70, it's going to be really good, especially solo. There's still a lot of damage left to get off this build. Alrighty. Alright, we'll do some more testing once the gauntlet actually comes out, and we'll be able to actually try it out. But I'm going to get off here for a few minutes, get something to eat, and then I'll be back on. We're going to do some Hell Divers. So, anyway, guys, I will see you then. If I don't see you in the stream, I hope you guys are having a great day or a great night, depending on where you're from, and peace out, guys. I will see you later.